Hopefully, you guys are having a great, happy Sunday afternoon. What's up, Dax? Good to see you. Uh, hey, Lonnie. Hello, everyone. Appreciate you for doing your daily heart me already. Appreciate you, Jen Penn. Hey, Melinda. I hope everybody is doing well. I am. You're so excited. Flying Nana, here's my thing. Hey, guys. Hey, Lonnie. Hey, David. What's up, Brandy? Um, I'm excited if people like are here for the conversation. Like, I hope that people are able to get, their loved ones that they wanted to come to actually come, right? To be here, to be part of the conversation, and then to get into some information. I do have some things pulled up to share in case, whatever. Happy Sunday. Appreciate you guys for rolling in here. I might need to close those windows. It's a pretty day, and so I've got my windows open a little bit. I love to get the fresh air in here. What's up, Jay Nice? Hey, Cheryl. Good evening. Appreciate you guys. So we shall see. We had what, about 8, 9, maybe even up to 10 people that said they had loved ones who were wanting to join this conversation. What's up, Sean? Hey, WJK. I'm good. I am well, as a matter of fact. Let me do this really quickly. So, for those of you guys who do not know what this live is about, I had been asked by some subscribers and said, I wish that you could talk to my family members. I wish you could talk to my friends. I wish you could do whatever. And so I said, okay, cool. I'm here, ready, willing, able to do that. And so we set aside today to make that happen. If you are on Twitch and YouTube, the link to join the panel just went into the comment section. So you should be able to see that now. Hey, Pin1010, good to see you. Glad to catch me live. What's up, Sandy? Hey, Masani. And if you are on the Book of Faces, let me throw it in the chat for you as well, because this is not just available for folks that are on TikTok, right? If you are on the other social media platforms and you want to join up and have a conversation and talk about the midterms and policy and what's up distant and all of those things, then this is your opportunity to do that. So link to join the panel. There it is. And so we're going to kind of just see how this goes and open the door and open the conversations up. Appreciate you, Brandy, to have the conversations. What's up, Wes? Hello, Candy. How are you? So we're going to see what happens, right? I think the main thing is that people understand. Hey, Rosalind, good to see you. Hey, Gumps. I'm getting much better, Gumps. Appreciate that. And so, hopefully, thanks, Lynn. Hopefully folks will show up, be ready for this conversation, have a real interest in facts and viable information, and then we can kind of see and go from there. So what's up, Bobby? So we shall see. I don't know if Lucid is here yet with her. It's getting better. I coughed a little bit last night, but nowhere near what I normally do. And the biggest challenge right now has been balancing food with the medication. I didn't do a great job yesterday and got like, you key back again. I want to, as our government, just as much of a joke. Yeah, just, you guys have your own issues as well. So you know what, distant ships, let me just say this. When everybody says knowledge is power, I like to add qualifiers, right? So I think accurate knowledge that is applied is power. Knowledge in and of itself, not necessarily power, right? Accurate knowledge that is applied. If you have knowledge but it's not applied, then you might as well not know it, right? And so I always like to add that caveat in there in this conversation so that, people think about it. But anyway, all right, so let me explain what this evening is and kind of roll out the red carpet and the invitation for folks. What's up, Drama Llama? So you guys asked for me to talk to your folks. So hopefully you have your folks. And maybe even if you're not, listen, if you're watching and you're not like, oh, I'm nobody's folks, but you still are, if you identify as MAGA, then, you support the GOP or the Republican Party, or you support the president of the United States, or you vote third party or voted third party or believe that that's the way to do things, or you don't vote at all, and you want to have a conversation with me about the politics of our country and the state that we are in currently, and then what we need to be doing in as a country to kind of move forward, then this is the live for you to be able to absolutely hit this panel, ask some questions, and have real conversation. That's not a debate me bro type setting. It's not like who can have a gotcha moment, who can whatever. It's literally, okay, let's talk about it then. If that's what you really think and that's what you really feel, what's that based on? And then can we talk about like the rest of it, and how do we find some common ground and move forward? So I don't know what this is going to look like. It's really going to be up to you all. What's up, Irvette? I will tell you that I ran across some information that can you talk about our candidates in our district? It depends upon who your candidates are. I may or may not know them, right? But we can talk about what to look for in your candidates, and how to kind of weigh that out. You know what I mean? We can absolutely talk about that. I think that if we feel like we don't know enough, that's an interesting sentiment, right? Because what do you mean? What did you not know enough about them, and what is it that you feel like you would have to know? And is not knowing a reason to not vote, right? I wonder about that as well. So if you want to have a conversation about that, I'm definitely game to address that as well. So all of those things are on the table, and definitely part of the conversation. So if you are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Substack, Substack, you probably cannot see the link. Yeah, I hope so too. But I also have a document, a report that I want to talk about, that you're scared of panels for what reason? They don't bite. They don't bite. And if you don't like it, you can just like disconnect and leave. There's like no risk. There's like zero risk to being on a panel. Zero risk. You just get up there, you don't like it, you get down. That's it. It's easier, just saying. All right, so let me do this really quickly as well. Do I have Substack pulled back up? So let me head over here to Substack real quick and see if I can pop this into. I can. Yay me. What's up, Jen the Vet? We also aren't a typical. Yeah. So this is the thing, and this is what I already said, is that this is not a debate me bro, get you gotcha moment, I'm right, you're wrong kind of setting. Let me just do this link to join the panel as a guest. All right, so listen, the link to join on all the other platforms is in the comments. So yeah, I'm not trying to do that. Okay. So now everybody should be able to participate. If this is something that you want to get in on, and you want to be part of the conversation, you now have the ability and the means to do so across all of the platforms. So we're going to kind of get in it and get to rocking and rolling. Right now, I don't see. I got WJK has joined from one of the streams. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to make sure that it's turned up. All right, so guys, first guest is actually up on a different platform. So let me make sure that all of the things are working. What's up, WJK? How are you?
How you doing, Dani?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, was in Florida I'm glad I got out of Kingsport. You have no idea.
Yeah.
It was the best move my wife ever could have made. Now she's a housing supervisor for the whole hospital.
Really?
Yeah, she got a huge raise, a huge sign-on bonus, and hate to put it this way, well, Mom can kiss my ass.
Yeah, you're a little muffled. Are you on headphones or no?
No, just my phone.
Okay, just your phones. Let me, Dominic. I'm gonna get Dominic to stop my dishwasher, guys, and just in case that adds to it.
I can go back to the other line anyway, back to the other chat. It's not a problem. I seen your link. I clicked on.
Yeah. So will you just open the dishwasher, baby, so that it's not so loud? So I'm glad that you guys are you're doing well. And
Yeah, we bought a house here. We bought a house. My health hasn't been the best in Florida. You would think it'd be better because it's Florida. I
yeah.
ended up losing my leg due to an infection.
Hmm.
So my riding days are over, but we're doing okay. We're blessed. That's all I can say.
I got you. Well,
You
I'm glad
know,
to see you all, and glad to see that you're doing well. What's up, Tim? So good to see you, and
you
I
too.
appreciate you joining. All right, have a good one.
You too. Bye.
For those of you guys, so this is actually someone that I know from back home, and no, he was a little bit muffled, you guys. It wasn't just you, and but no, they moved. One of the things that was an issue back home where I'm from in Northeast Tennessee is the healthcare system. We have the country's largest state sanctioned medical monopoly. And it's not the same. I see you back, and it's not the same as other places where you just have a lack of competition or a lack of choice. It's literally a healthcare monopoly created by your state legislature. And so with that came a serious reduction in quality of care, available services, all different types of things. And so downgrading of our hospital systems, and things like that. And so they moved to Florida. And his wife is getting better care and things like that. And so it was the best thing for them to do. And so it was an opportunity for him to actually jump on and see me face to face, because he hasn't done that before. So that's why he joined very quickly. So if you already voted for Mary Patola in Alaska. You love Florida. Love that you love Florida. You know what I mean? I think I think it's a mixed bag depending upon who you talk to. I hear people that are in Florida that are like, "Oh my God, I want to get out," and then there are other people that are like, "Oh, I love it here," and whatever. And then there are other people that are like, "I love it here, and the politics suck, and I wish that my state were different." So rescue you from Florida. Oh, thanks, Carla. It's been a good day. I hung out with a couple of girlfriends of mine last night, and then today took the kids out to go ride their scooters a bit. We did some sidewalk talk outside. We did some hopscotch. I re-taught the kids how to do hopscotch, and then kicked their asses because they're not as good as even old school tutu at hopscotch. And then came in, made them lunch, then cleaned the kitchen, swept, mopped, did all of that, and then and then swept, mopped, did all of that, made candied almonds, then cooked dinner for them, and then got ready and am live with you all. Got Bella in the shower and all that. My niece came over and helped get Mila ready, so they're already in jammies and good to go. You asked me about Katie Hobbs in Arizona. What what do you think is confusing about her? Hello, Lucid. Yeah. I can't do a ton of hopscotch. Okay, cool. Sounds great. Yeah, no, after the four knee surgeries, hopscotch is a limited thing for me. But let's just say before we ended up calling it quits, I made it to seven. They couldn't get past three. um, oh, absolutely not, Sonia. Listen, if you're gonna challenge me to some hopscotch, let's go. Let's get it. Same thing whether it's hopscotch, Jenga. It doesn't matter to me what it is. We can get it on. Farkle, Yahtzee. But yeah, no. I was like, see, you don't know how to roll. You don't know how to roll the rocks. That's why you keep going out the square. So yeah. But no. So we it was a good day, and then we did lots of sidewalk talk and whatever. Family stuff. Um, you used to be good at double dutch. Yeah, that ain't never been in my life. That ain't never been in my life. So when you say she plays both sides, what do you mean by that? I mean, because I think another way. So let me offer this, okay? Because today is about conversations and about wording and all of that, right? So when you say she plays both sides, understand the thought process and the words that you're using automatically when you said she plays both sides. So that indicates, like, just in the verbiage that you're using, that's a negative connotation, right? The spin that you have on it, the narrative that you have, is that there is a manipulation that is taking place because she is playing both sides, which is indicating maybe you don't feel like she's authentic. You don't think that she's sincere. You don't trust the things that she's saying as if she's being whatever. And so then you have to ask yourself, what's behind that? Is there something really there in her behavior, in her voting, in her policies, and her actions that demonstrates that there's something that is inauthentic about it? There's something that is coercive or manipulative about it, or like what's behind that thought? Because that's what automatically comes to mind when I hear your verbiage. I'm waiting for Lucid. Now there's like 10 of you all that were like, I've got somebody, I've got somebody, I've got somebody, and here we are. Where y'all at? I think it depends on what you mean by manipulative, and because not all manipulation is bad, right? Um, oh, she didn't respond, Jamie. That's okay. Share the link. Share the link, and see what happens. You never know. She might be like, oh, you know what? Let me just pop on in there and see what's what. And you don't just have to listen. You don't just have to be MAGA, Trump, Republicans, third party, or non-voters to come up. Anybody is welcome, but it's just about what type of conversations do you want to have around our political environment and the situations that we are in. Because we are definitely in some situations, right? Um, Sounds great, WJK. Yeah, you can just be unsure, have real questions, whatever it is. Yep, we're game. This is a free Q&A. All right, you have a blessed day too. So this is it. You want to know? Let's go. You wanna have a conversation? This is your opportunity. What's up, Kate? Yep, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Substack, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Across the board. Space Ranger, did you mean to request up?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. What would you like to say? Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, I got my husband here. He's never been on a panel before, so I'll probably be doing talking for him and having him talk next to me. But he is one of our non-voters.
Okay.
That thinks, well, and I see it. Both sides are corrupt, and doesn't think his vote actually matters. And I don't know how to talk to him about those things and how to get him to start voting again.
Okay. All right, hubby, are you there?
Yes.
What would you like for me to call you? I don't know if you want me to call you hubby.
You just call me Tim.
Tim. Okay, great. So you think that both sides are bad? Tell me in your words why it is that you don't see the value in voting.
They tell you what they want to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
They get voted in, and then nothing happens. They don't follow through on promises.
Have you always felt like that's the case? And do you think that that's the case all the time?
Basically, yes. I was deployed, and when I was deployed, Joe Biden showed up. I had no clue who the guy was. I sat down. We were sitting in the chow hall at BIOP. He come up and sat with us and was telling us all these great things. But everything on BIOP was locked down. All the roads were locked down because he had death threats. That's not my problem. But he just, it put me in a lot more danger because at that point I had to drive at night, and that's not good.
So what year was this?
Either 09 or 10.
Yeah, 09, 10.
So when he was the vice president.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So
And
just to be clear, like they shut down the roads and the airspace and things like that, whether there's death threats or not. They just do that. So, like for example, in North Carolina, right after the hurricanes happened in 2020, what was that, 2024, 2023, 2024? I don't remember, but
2024, I think.
yeah, 24. Yeah. So right when the hurricanes happened. So if you remember when Trump visited the Western Carolinas, people were upset because they shut down if there was only one really main road to come in there, and they shut it down because he came and all of that. So that's kind of normal. But okay. So so one of the things that I always pay attention to is when I use words that are absolute, um, and that they don't like. So when I start to say things like everybody, always, never, like that, because absolutes don't exist, right? So surely there have been people that made promises and kept them, right? Because if that wasn't the case, then women wouldn't have the right to vote, black people wouldn't have integrated schools, black people wouldn't be able to vote. Like there are things that have happened. People have made promises, they have kept those promises, and gotten things done. And I think we also know that I think that it's funny that we always say campaign promises, because you can't promise anything when you're heading into Congress, because you're only one out of, hundreds of people. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think that we've got to, when we're using language like that, it's because it's a narrative and it's a story that supports our position. So let me ask you this. What is it that you would have to see, right, to make you feel like, okay, because here's my thing. Do you think that it's better to just not participate at all than to shoot your best shot and then possibly get something decent or good out of it?
I mean, it would be better to participate.
Mm-hmm.
let me but I just don't have the trust. I guess that's what I could say.
Everybody says that word.
I don't. And I know, but I just don't. It's more it's issues I have from being deployed, things I've seen, things I've done. I don't trust. That has changed me 100%.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. I don't think that you should trust. I don't think so. I'm also a veteran, right?
Yeah.
I was in the Signal Corps. I worked in a skiff. So, I think for anyone to talk about trusting the government, I think that's just silly. Of course, you don't trust the government. Our government has done really horrific things, like really horrific things. It's not about trust. It's about knowing that this is the infrastructure and this is the system that this is how our government works. And the bottom line is that if you don't participate at all, then you literally are having no say, and you're allowing it to be whatever it would be. I have this thing that I say all the time, is they want you to believe that there's nothing that you can do, so that you will do nothing and they will get away with everything.
Yes, I see that.
And so it's like, I know that it's like, this is the problem, is we want certainty. And the reality is there is no certainty. There's no such thing as certainty. That's not the way that it works. So the only thing that we can do is show up and do the absolute best we can based on the information that we have and the direction that we want to go and the things that we want to get. And so, like, for me, I don't know if you have kids or grandkids. I have grandchildren, right?
Yes.
And so for me, I can't not participate because I'm responsible for what I leave to them. And if I don't participate at all, then that means I am responsible for whatever happens. I am responsible for the part that I didn't play, that I did play by not playing. You know what I mean?
Yes, I
So,
understand.
so what is it that you want to vote for?
I don't know. I mean, to make this country better, to just get rid of the BS. I mean, I don't really know. I didn't put a lot of thought into sitting here and listening with my wife today. It's just I'm tired.
Yeah.
I mean, you see this, that, the other on the news, and I'm tired. We had a friend, a very close friend of mine. Her son is in the Air Force. He was deployed to
We don't know where.
well, he originally it was in Dubai, but then he was moved, and it's like he stayed 6 months later than his unit, and I'm just like, my only thought was let me go and help him.
Yeah.
It's just I've got a lot of problems. I'll just say that. It took me 15 years. I finally went into therapy, and I mean, I've got issues. I've got issues with a lot of things.
I think most of us do.
It's. I mean, as I can say as a veteran, but that is. I mean, it means something, but not a lot, because everybody wants something. We just want to be treated right, and everything needs to be right.
So
I guess
Miriam, can you do me a favor? Don't listen. I don't want you all to go back and forth with people in the chat that are here to distract. If Annie wants to have a conversation about her vote, she needs to join the panel and discuss it with me. If people are tagging you in the comments, it is because they want to distract from the conversation. Please do not do that.
I don't pay attention to anybody.
Oh no, it's some other folks in the chat. So here's my thing. So Tim, let me say this, okay? So you said you're tired, and that's valid. It's also their strategy. Their strategy is to absolutely wear us out. It is why we are bombarded on all sides by this 24-hour news cycle, and you almost get whiplash from being jerked from this thing to this thing to this thing to this thing. That's part of the strategy, right? So here's what this is me personally, and I share this a lot. So your wife has probably heard me say this. When I get tired, which is often, but when I get really, really tired and I'm just like, fuck this, because that happens sometimes, right?
A lot.
I picture, and this is just me, I picture John Lewis. And I specifically picture him standing on the Edmund Pettus Bridge on Bloody Sunday. And I think about what he was looking at, what it must have felt like for him. Because imagine what's down the road in front of him is a row of police officers with dogs and batons and fire hoses. And I think about how absolutely tired he must have been. And then I think about him in the years, his later years, and I see him the dance where he's doing the dance of the happy. And I think about, okay, so if I get tired, then I've got to figure out what I've got to do to refill my cup, because the fight that I don't do today is the fight that I leave for my grandkids. If I don't listen, this fight is gonna remain. We're gonna always want things to get right. We're always gonna want things to be better. And if I choose to sit the fight out today, I am 100% leaving that fight to my children and my grandchildren. I just am. And so for me, that's one side of it. And then the other side of it is that I took the same oath you took. And that oath doesn't allow me to just sit back and get tired and check out. It doesn't. not when I see what's happening to my country. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So
Yes.
I think
Understand.
I think the thing that I would offer you is clarity on what is the thing that gets you out of bed. Like if you had to pick an issue for you that is your passion, what is it?
Honestly, I can't. I can't. I couldn't really tell you.
Yeah.
It's
Veterans,
just
VA benefits.
providing for my family. That's what gets me up.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
mean,
Is it harder to do that now than ever than before?
yes, because what things, the cost of everything.
Mm-hmm. So affordability is your issue. That's your issue. Okay, so focus
Yeah.
on. So that's your issue. So you have to figure out. So guys, can you guys please do me a favor and don't distract and have conversations in the chat? I don't know how many times I got to ask that. Um, okay, so it's funny because like that for me, that's not my that doesn't do it for me. And it's a lot of the guys that I talk to, that's their issue. It has to do with that provider. It has to do with that financial. That tends to be what leads. For me, it's human rights. For me, it's people. You know what I mean? That's the thing that does it for me. So
Yeah, and I mean that I'm with that too. It's I'm with all that. It's just I tend to focus on me, my family
mhm.
first.
Yeah.
And I don't, if I can't get that right, how can I get everything else right?
So, but
Or how
understanding,
can everything else play in to be right?
yes. So, but here's
That's where I'm at.
okay. But here's the thing: is when we bring up the least of us, we bring up all of us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like when for me, it's when I understand that my family's well-being and my family's ability to succeed and to do well is directly it's impacted and it's connected to how well the people around me do. Like it's not like so like for me, I think it's understanding when we talk about like how we develop policies that lift everyone up, because that's the idea, right? So to take care of your family, and to have your family do well means other people are going to do well at the same time, and helping other people do well also impacts your family. The more families that come out of poverty and are able to live and stimulate the economy and make things go even better, right? That benefits you just like everybody else. So it's all connected together. Like if you could pick, so what is it? If you, what are your if you were gonna say, okay, this is what I want healthcare to look like, education to look like. What does that look like for you? What do you want in Congress, and what do you want in our executive branch, in a commander in chief?
Honestly, as when I was deployed or when I was in Germany and stationed there, free college for whoever.
Yeah.
I mean, they had granted you had to have a certain GPA,
Yeah.
but everything was free.
Yeah.
The health care, it was free.
Yeah.
It was, you went because you, I don't know. I talked with families over there, and it was amazing what they were telling me. And I was like, man, I wish we had that.
So the
But
thing,
it's like college. The education was, you couldn't beat it. The healthcare, you couldn't beat it. But I don't understand why we can't do it.
well, we don't do it because we put corporations above the. So like we had a choice when other countries decided to invest in universal health care and create a healthcare system, that was overseen and predominantly run by the government. We went a different route. We chose a healthcare system that was dependent and related to your job, your employment, without ensuring that we had companies that would be able to provide healthcare and insurance, right? And so that is the system that we made. The beautiful thing about that is that we can make a different system. We literally can make a different system, and the way that we can do that is by participating in the process. Nobody is going to change our healthcare system or our college system or any of those things if we aren't forcing them to and holding them accountable. So I'll share this with you. A hard thing to really sit with, being somebody who, not only am I a veteran, but my parents were both veterans, right? My dad passed after 2 tours in Vietnam. He was medevac home after the second tour, and developed lung cancer at the age of 32. He passed 6 months after I was born. And my brothers also served, and the more that I have learned about the real history of the country, when I found out that there was actually a proposed amendment to the Constitution that passed both sides of Congress and was being ratified to allow slavery to legally stay in the Confederate States, I was astounded. Most people don't know that. Most people do not know that Lincoln and everybody else, in order to keep the South from seceding, they were willing to add an amendment to the Constitution that allowed the Confederate States to keep slaves, and put in that amendment that the federal government would never intervene. It would just be new states that couldn't have them. To wrap my head around the fact that my country has never really done anything for me because they want to do it for Black and brown people, but because it was what bettered themselves, right? To know that the Southern strategy is a real thing, and it's intentional. And so that, I guess that's why I don't sit around and think about trusting the government, because it's just weird, right? But there's this great book. It's called, and it says, "Power concedes nothing without demand." I don't expect my government to just wake up all of a sudden and do the right thing for me. And I don't expect for corporations to do it, right? I mean, if corporations were going to do the right thing by people, none of us would know who Aaron Brockovich is. Right?
Facts.
Right?
I work for a Fortune 500 or whatever company.
Yeah.
And it is I have probably the worst healthcare that I've ever had.
And that's my point.
That's them that's more money in their pocket.
100%. And so this is why, that's your motivation. You want to take care of you and your family. You want a different healthcare system, then you've got to get involved in the voting process. And that means figuring out, who do I vote for today with who's available to me? Who do I vote for in 2 years and in 4 years to who's available to me? How do we eventually get the folks out that are putting corporations, their religion, or a foreign country ahead of the best interests of the people? And that's the work. And I know that it's tiring. I know. But that's why you got to figure out how. So number one, I'll tell you this: community helps. Community helps. Like, your wife is in this community all day long. And I can,
I know.
I know, but believe it or not, that's what it helps. I'm not telling you to be like, all up in it like she is. But what I will tell you is that when you are around like-minded people and people that go, hey, it's all right, take a deep breath. There is something about community that keeps you going, that keeps you connected, that keeps you moving forward. And so I would say, find that, it doesn't necessarily have to be my community. It can be anywhere. Find a place that's home for you, whether that's local, whether you have a local indivisible, whether you have a 50501, whether you have a whatever. Find what resonates with you and get plugged in so that you have a community of people around you, and then figure out what you need to do to refill your cup. Because that's what I have to do. Sometimes it's art for me, sometimes it's music, sometimes it's my grandbabies. Today it was sidewalk talking. Sidewalk chalk and hopscotch for real.
I saw that. Today was my cleaning my truck.
Yeah, see, so I need to do that, but holy geez, right? But that's what it's about. And just understand, it would be nice to say, oh, I can just trust people to do what they say. But the reality is you can't trust anybody, whether it's a politician. How many, listen, think about it like this. I use this example all the time. So there's this man. He's been married for 30 some years, right? He's in his 50. He's a member of his church. He's like an elder in his church. He's a Cub Scout leader for his sons. He's the head of the neighborhood watch in the community. Like got 3 kids. He's the man. Everybody thinks he's incredible, right? He's and he just happens to kidnap, bind, torture, and rape and kill women. His name is Dennis Rader. He's both of those people. He's both of them, right? We want to put people in a box and say good person, bad person. And people aren't that. People aren't that. And so when we understand the duality of who we are as human beings, we can take out these unrealistic expectations that, oh, just because I vote for you, just because you're a politician, then I should be able to believe you're going to do whatever. Because number one, they can't do everything by themselves. It's a whole body of 400 people.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if I were going to add like a little ding of like a little switch to you, right? How tired are women? How tired are Black and brown people? How tired are LGBTQ people? There are a lot of people that are tired. To be tired and do nothing is a privilege.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you explain to him what you talk about all the time in regards to voting in primaries and voting in general elections?
Yeah, 100%. So this is my thing about voting. So when I am in the primaries, right, I am voting for the person that makes my heart sing, the person that makes me feel all warm and fuzzy and all giddy. Like that's who I'm voting for in the primaries. And if that person wins, hallelujah, beautiful, I'm voting for them in the general election. Okay. If they lose, if they do not beat the establishment Democrat that's already in office, okay, then come the general election, I'm voting for that Dem because we cannot give up a single seat to the Republican Party at all. It's just too dangerous. And that establishment Dem is still closer to where I want to go than the GOP version. Right? So this is my thing. It's not as close as the other dude was going to be. But it's the next best thing to where I desire to go. And it's a whole hell of a lot closer than the GOP person. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm not Democrat or Republican.
Me either.
I just can't go one way or the other.
Well, I'll tell you where you are. You're a progressive, though. You're a progressive.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Thank you for telling him that.
You are, sweetie. Listen, if you get on this daggone app and you say to me you want free college and free healthcare, your ass is progressive, sir.
I mean, it would be better for everybody.
Yes, it would.
I mean, regardless who you are.
Yeah.
And it could be done easily.
Yes, it could.
They won't do it. Nobody can do it.
So listen, they can do it, and some people will do it. It's just the people that have been in office wouldn't do it, right? So
yeah. Now, I will tell you one thing. I am a huge fan of what's his name, Sean Ryan.
Okay.
And he had Ro Khanna on there.
Okay.
And I loved everything that man said.
Ro Khanna's pretty tight. Yeah.
He was, I was, and I come home and told my wife, I said, this dude is great. And she was like, how do you know about him? And I was like, I watched this 3-hour whatever interview on it. And I mean, he was great. But there's not many guys like him.
But there are more coming. And this is the beautiful thing.
Hopefully.
No, not hopefully, they are. Listen, it's not hopefully, they are. This is a thing that we are seeing happening across the country. And we see more progressives, more people that are willing to do the things for the folks, for working class people. And so that's the thing to keep in mind. You're not going to see them all at once. But guess what? We also didn't get here all at once. Where we are today has been this slow burn, right? We have been like crabs in a pot on the stove for 50 years. That's where we've been. And they've just slowly been turning it up. And so the thing to remember is that we didn't get here overnight. And we won't get out of where we are if we don't participate in the process.
So when it comes down to it, I don't trust, I don't feel good about the Republican. I don't feel good about the Democrat. Who do I vote for?
So
I mean, that would be my thing.
Okay.
Who do I put my trust in?
You don't. You put your trust in yourself. That's first and foremost. It's not about putting your trust in anybody. That's not what it's about. Take that word out of your vocabulary. Listen.
It's what they will or won't do. I mean, because I know.
Let me ask you a question.
Each side says everything.
No, not true.
You want to hear, and then it's. I mean, that's my mindset. And
I know.
Just to let you know that.
But that's the story that you're telling you. Okay, so listen. Whenever you say it's everything. Remember what I told you. So I want you to start paying attention to your words. When you use words like everyone, nobody, everything, never, always, that means that you are in story mode, Tim. And that means you are making up a story to justify your lack of participation in the process. That's full on story mode. And listen, this works in everything. If you're fighting with your significant other and you're like, you never take out the trash, good and damn well sometimes they take out the trash. You don't ever listen. Of course they do. Right?
No, she don't.
But so that's how you know, right? That's how you know is whenever you use verbiage that is an absolute, you're in story mode. And that means that is your sign to yourself. Oh, I'm BSing myself right now because what I'm saying right now isn't true. And I know that it's not true. That's number one. Number two, I want you to think about the things that you desire to see come to fruition in the world, in this country. And then I really want you to ask yourself, okay, between these two candidates and even these two parties, which party gets me closer to the thing that I would like to create? Not which party is going to give it to me right now, not who can I trust to give it to me, not just whatever, right? Hey, Thomas, but literally what's my best option to get where I want to go? Because the reality is that you don't have a hope in hell of getting the GOP to give you free college. That's not happening. You're not getting free health care from the Republican Party. It's not coming. Right? So,
okay.
I'm just being very direct. I don't love everything about the Democratic Party, and I don't love everybody that's in the Democratic Party. I don't. What I do know, though, is the policies that I support, the policies that I want are for the betterment of people. And those policies do not come from the Republican Party. The Republican Party has policies that are good for very, very rich people, which I am not in terms of like money in the bank. I'm very rich in other ways, but corporations, right? And my name is not Bezos, and I don't own a Fortune 500 and whatever. And so for me, when I look at, it's not a perfect party, but if I look at where that vote is going to get me closer to where I want to go, it's coming from the Democratic side of the aisle, even with all of their imperfections. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this to you too. Okay. You want to feel good about your vote. And what I'm telling you is that that may not always be the case. And that's okay, because your feelings are not more important than the end result for the country. So we're spoiled. Americans are spoiled. Well, I want to feel great about my vote. Really? That's a very, very centered, self centered position to be in, because there are other people whose lives depend on whether or not you participate. Right?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, for um to look at it, for me to vote, it wouldn't be just for me, my family. It would be, I would look at everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not I wouldn't be self-centered like that. I want everybody to benefit.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to say this will benefit everybody, because half the time it doesn't.
But think about this, but it does. Sometimes, let me just tell you this. So I want you to think about benefiting in multiple ways. Okay? Because sometimes the benefit is stopping us from going back even further. Sometimes the benefit is putting us in a position to reboot, restart, and do it again. Like, everything is not always going to be a win, right?
Yes.
But it might be a different type of win. Listen, you might have grown up wanting a red Corvette when you were a kid, and maybe today you drive a red Toyota. But damn it, it's red and it gets you from A to B, and it's still a damn win because you could be walking, right?
Yeah.
And so we just have to apply that and get really real and stop. The way that we look at these things, we have to make it very real. It's not always going to feel warm and fuzzy. Sometimes you might have to literally hold your nose, cast your ballot, go outside and throw up. But it is what it is, if that's the step that keeps us closer to where we want to go.
I'll be doing that in November.
I mean, that's the thing, right? But the beautiful thing is, so Tim, let me tell you this. We are on the way going somewhere. There is a momentum right now in the country right now that if we capitalize on it, can move us so far. Like, literally, let me share this. If we come out of November with the progressive majority in the House and in the Senate, there's a few things that they can do just like that. The first thing that they can do is, come next spring, they would be able to introduce a resolution that gets rid of the 10-year requirement to ratify an amendment to the Constitution. What would that do? As soon as we got rid of that 10-year requirement, we would be able to add the ERA to the Constitution. And your wife and me and women everywhere in this country would now have equal rights under the Constitution, under the law. Every time that's been introduced, you can look the last time it's been blocked. It was blocked in 2023 by Senate Republicans. Every time. So think about that. Literally 6 months from November, your wife, me, my daughters, my granddaughters, all the women, if you've got sisters, whatever, they could have equal rights under the law in the Constitution, like that, when progressives have the majority. How about that? I think that's a win.
Everybody should have the same right. Now, I mean, whether.
But we don't.
Women, black, brown, whatever. Everybody should.
So, but do you know the history of the ERA, Tim? Do you know when it was passed?
No.
In 1973. It was passed the year that I was born. Do you know that it took until 2020 to get 37 of the 50 states in this country to ratify it? It took 50 years. to get it ratified, right? And my thing is, the only reason now that it's ratified and 20 states have ratified it, the only reason it's not in the Constitution is because we have a requirement that says an amendment has to be ratified within 10 years. So all we have to do is get rid of that. And all of a sudden, the ERA is in the Constitution.
Okay.
And that would be a huge win. And if I were, and if I were all of you all, that's what I would be telling my people. The people that want me to vote for them into Congress, I would say, will you vote to get rid of the 10-year requirement so that the ERA is added to the Constitution? They're going to say yes, because the Dems have introduced it several times. It's always been. And this is what I want to ask every woman that is voting for Republicans. Do you understand that they have blocked intentionally your ability to have equal rights under the law be added to the Constitution? Why would you ever vote for someone who's blocking your to have your rights added to the Constitution?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Right. So that would be the one thing. The next thing that we could do, like just like that, is so the HR1 is the bill that that they call the One Big Beautiful Bill, right? So, but the mechanism that they used to process that bill was called budget reconciliation. The beautiful thing about that is the people who would be in charge next spring would also be able to use budget reconciliation. And so they could simply use the same tool to reverse engineer HR1, and then all of those cuts to SNAP and to Medicaid and to the Department of Education and all of that could be added right back. So the most significant cuts, they actually start in December of this year. So can you imagine if we simply reverse engineered it and got it passed by the summer? Then it would only be 6 months of those cuts. We would stop so much harm. We would protect millions of people from losing access to their SNAP benefits and from their Medicaid. But in order to do either of those two things, you have to have a progressive majority in the House and in the Senate.
Okay.
And that's why we vote. Not to feel warm and fuzzy, not to trust anybody, but to get work done. And the work that can get done, and it's easy fixes, and we can make it happen, and we can keep the pressure on and make them do what we ask them to do. That's what it's about. Democracy isn't something you can just put in a crock pot and let cook. Nope.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
No, I'm good.
So you're going to vote in November?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Dani.
You're welcome, Space. Appreciate you, Tim. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, too, and thank you for everything.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Appreciate you. Okay, so folks, if you are watching, no matter where you're watching from, there are links in the chat for you to be able to join the panel. Okay. The whole purpose in this is to just have conversations with people who are either not voting, third-party voters, voting for Republicans, or supporting, this administration or whatever. And so folks ask, and I said I would be available to have these conversations. And so here we are. Babies, you got 30 minutes before bed, okay? 30 minutes. Okay. All right. So next, there's quite a few of you guys in the comments. So give me 1 second, and we'll just go. Right, 100%. All right, what's up, Lucid? How are you?
Hi, Dani. I am good. I hope everyone's doing well.
Yep, fantastic. What you got for me?
I just want to say thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
have been having anxiety over this all week. So you will be speaking to Gomez, who I hold very dear in my heart. And I hope it's a productive conversation.
I am sure it will be. Hello, Gomez. How are you?
All right, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to
Thank you
meet
for
you.
taking the time out of your day to do this.
Yeah.
Massively appreciate it.
No worries, no worries. So share with me what's going on with you and politics. What's your feel on it all?
Yeah. So I think when it comes to Lucid, she wants more of a persuasion for me to care more about, not necessarily to care more, but to play a bigger role in politics than what I currently do. Just to give you a little bit of my background, I studied philosophy in college for a couple of years. I don't feel as though there are political solutions to the world's problems. For about a decade, I was a big part of a movement that focused on ethics regarding procreation and euthanasia. And I have since retired from having ethical conversations with people. And during that time, I remember harboring disdain for people. It's a similar sentiment to the last man, who was feeling like he just didn't want to get involved and that he was tired and all that. But I remember having this idea of people who led relatively reclusive lives, who saw the world as it is and would remove themselves from society. And I harbored a little bit of disdain for them because I felt as though if they could see the world as it is, they have an obligation and a duty to the rest of humanity to play an impactful role. I since have dropped that idea, and I no longer feel the duty. And I don't feel, again, I feel as though there are political solutions to the world's problems. And I have limited time. So my focus is now on, again, providing for my family and doing the simple things that are needed for our life to continue cohesively.
Okay. So when you say political solutions, what do you mean by that?
So it's my impression that political solutions are what I would consider palliative. They address symptoms and not root issues.
Give me an example.
The entirety of political systems and structure and how people ought to be governed and how people ought to behave. And I don't feel as though those get at the real issue of what humanity's facing.
So what do you think the real issue is?
That we're born into a world without any objective morality or direction. And there's an immense amount of suffering that people have to endure every day. And we spend all of our time grappling with that. And I think for me, it wouldn't be fruitful if I spent my time, and this isn't to say that people ought not to focus on politics, because I understand why people do. But for me, I don't feel as though it's going to be the best use of my time. I've cared more about philosophy for the longest time. And even though, that's not what I do as much anymore, that was my priority.
Right. I mean, but you do know that philosophy is the root of politics, correct? Like literally the founding fathers wrote our documents and our constitution based off of philosophy. Look up Locke, look up all of those individuals. And so, but the question that I'm asking you is, what do you think that the problem is? The issue that is facing us as a society is what exactly?
It would be suffering as a result of nature being deficient, which isn't to me solvable with political solutions.
So how is nature deficient?
Because it results endlessly in suffering.
How so?
You want me to elaborate on?
I really do. Because when you say nature is deficient, I don't know if you're talking about human beings or are you talking about actual like Mother Nature?
Everything that comes as a result of it. So human beings, animals, all sentient creatures. I think I would have a more neutral position towards like inanimate objects and things like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
So, because I think what you're referring to is mankind, and so I think the issue in this conversation and in the way that I look at politics is I don't believe that you can legislate morality. That doesn't mean that you don't legislate, though.
Right. Sure.
Right. So when you say that there are not political problems, when you say there's not political solutions to the problems that we're facing, because you feel like the problems that we're facing have to do with our morality or lack thereof, and in our innate tendency to lead towards suffering, right? That doesn't mean that you don't do what you can to mitigate the circumstances, and you don't do what you can to improve what you have.
Yeah, I think there are practical solutions to more societal cohesion.
So give me an example.
Okay, for example, deterrence to keep people from going into jail
Like,
how
but
do
give me a
like that
specific
affect-
example of what that would be.
Okay, the condemnation of murder.
You can't say that word.
Oh, I can't say that word. I'm sorry.
I mean, I do, but this is the thing that I'm at. But so when you say the condemnation from who?
As far as law is regarded, it's their deterrence to keep people from behaving a particular way. I'm saying that for societal cohesion is generally a good thing.
But it doesn't keep people
Yeah.
from committing. It doesn't keep people from committing murder. Does it? No.
No.
Here's what I'm asking you is when you say that there are other things, right? You said that there are other things that are available to us. What are those other things? If you do not believe that it is political solutions, right?
Yeah.
Which can you two things. Number one, can you share with me how you define political solutions, right? And then number two, give me an example of a different type of solution that you believe is available to us and that would be as impactful and applicable across society.
Sure. So I think some degree of political involvement, how people ought to govern and how societies ought to function, is inevitable. I think it's something that if you want the continuation of a polite society, you have to have it. So as far as an alternate solution to being involved in politics, my great solution isn't unfortunately attainable. I imagine a state of perfection and everything, and I think that's a great thing. And I think the continuation of the human species isn't necessarily inherently a good thing. And I question the ethics surrounding procreation. So I think, unfortunately, politics is just something that we have to involve ourselves in rather than a good solution to the problems.
And yet you're saying that you're not involving in them.
I'm not. I don't feel as though
So which one is true? Because so either you believe that they are an eventuality and they are reality, and we have to involve in them because they are the mechanism that is available to us for the society that we live in. Because either the utopia or the complete extinction of humanity isn't what's on the table for you right now, or not. Yeah. So which is it? Is it the solution that is available to you right now, and you must participate in it, or?
Yes. Yeah. So I would say my father always uses the example. He's very politically involved. He says you may not take an interest in politics, but politics is going to take an interest in you. So I would say that it's something that if you care about the progress of society and you care about there being more structure, it's something that you have to involve yourself in, but that you can't deduce from that you have a duty to involve yourself in that. Because I could say to my father in response, I could say, okay, yes, disease also is something that's going to take an interest in me, but that doesn't mean that I need to become a doctor.
Yeah, but that's not an accurate correlation, and you know that.
Why is it not?
Because it's not. Nobody is asking you to cure politics, right? So disease is going to take an interest in you, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't eat right and exercise and get adequate sleep. Nobody's asking you to run for Congress. Nobody's asking you to become the president, right? Nobody's asking for you to do that, which would be the equivalent of becoming the doctor in your scenario. So what I'm saying to you is the example that you just gave is a false equivalency, because they're not the same thing. Disease taking interest in you doesn't mean that you don't do what you need to do to take care of your body.
Right. So if I could just rephrase what I'm saying a little bit and ask you a question, would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you feel, just as like by virtue of being here, that you have a duty to other people?
So I think that is an individual thing. So for me, it's not about me having a duty to other people. I have a duty to myself to show up as the human being that I decided I want to be in this life. And I think that all of us need to choose that for themselves. Okay. So for me, I desire to be someone who wants to participate in the society around me, who wants to uplift and benefit the people that are around me, if possible, and who wants to not be an island unto herself, and to understand that we are all connected together. But that is who I choose to be, right? And because that's the kind of human being I want to be, right? So that's something that I cannot answer for you. I cannot tell you that you have a duty to someone else, because maybe you don't want to. Maybe you want to only care about you. And then that's okay because that's who you are. It's just not who I choose to be. And what I know is that more of us that choose to be that way and be only concerned with ourselves is the reason why everyone else is hurting in the way that we are, because individually we do not do well. We are strongest, we are our most successful, we are our most prosperous, we are our most all of that when we are together.
So would you say that it's in your nature to have that particular inclination towards wanting to
No, because I didn't always give a fuck about other people. No. But to be honest, the reason why, so I would say that part of it has always been there. And then I would also say that it got buried for a period of time. And the thing that buried it for a period of time was trauma that I experienced. Right. So as a young kid, I was the person who took up for the kid on the playground. Sure was. Right. As a young kid, I was the person who didn't want anybody to pick on, like the smart kid or the disabled kid, yes, that part has always been in me. But then there was a time in my life where I was like, fuck all of this nonsense. And it was as a result of trauma, right? So when we experience a certain amount of trauma and disappointment and all of those things, it can absolutely make us put up walls and go, you know what? Y'all are on your own because you've done too much damage over here, right? And so then it's about, do you do the work as an individual person to get rid of all that stuff and understand that if I shut out all of the potential for hurt or the potential for pain or the potential for disappointment, if I shut all of that out and I just completely disengage from it, I also am shutting out the potential for enormous joy, the potential for enormous love, the potential for enormous happiness, right? Because you don't get to numb one side without numbing the other. We don't get to pick and choose. When we numb, when we disconnect from everything and everyone. And then we only experience muffled versions of the totality of this life that we're meant to live.
Okay, so I guess I would ask a question then. If I were to say I developed an interest in making a greater impact with humanity, how would you decide, or do you have a recommendation for how people ought to allocate time for that?
Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, for me, it's allocating time for that means taking away from something else. I have limited time. And so what do you think would be the most efficient way to go about that?
So first, we all have limited time. All of us do. And what I would say is that when we have an interest in advocating in the lives of other people and for the lives of other people, right? Then time makes space for it. We make space for it, right? We do it with everything. When something becomes important to us, we make room for it. And then some of the most common ways. So like I talk to people about this all the time. So there are people in my community who are disabled and who rarely get to leave their house, right? So they do a lot of their things on social media and texting and in phone calls with the people in their lives. They also do it when I've got one lady, God love her. She talks to her Uber drivers. She talks to her doctors about the issues and politics and people and all of those things. I've got somebody else that is a hairdresser. And so she's on her, but she talks to clients. She puts up flyers in her shop. Somebody else keeps a little tote bag with information in their car. There's lots of different ways to integrate it into the life that we already exist. The life that we already have, there are ways to integrate. And it doesn't have to be all consuming. It doesn't have to take over. It's finding out how to work smarter and not harder, right? And make it a part of how you exist. So like when you say to me previously that you had this interest in advocacy and making things better, what did that look like for you at the time?
So for me, I was what was considered an antinatalist, but I was a particular branch of an antinatalist. I had a modest YouTube following and everything and would create videos. But I focused mainly on the ethics surrounding procreation, whether or not it's a good idea to have children, whether or not it's a good idea for humanity to continue existing, and things like that.
Gotcha.
I was a negative utilitarian also.
Okay.
So I was vegan for a time being.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. So here's the thing. So for me, so I was a vegan for a bit, and then I was just plant based and whatever. And here's my thing. I think that first, what we understand is that we go through different phases in our lives where different interests have us in different moments. I have settled in the path where I say that anything that is extreme um, probably isn't going to end up good, right? Extreme for a minute can be fine, right? Steph, please do not diagnose folks. Don't say people. Don't be careful, guys in the chat. I really need y'all to hear me when I say that, because I don't believe that he sounds depressed, and I would never say that. And I don't think that that's a wise thing to say, because we don't know him. I don't know what he sounds like every damn day. This could be like his ecstatic happy for all I know.
Every damn day, okay? Just
like, I'm just saying, let's don't do that. Hey, Michelle. So okay, but so here's my thing. So the conversations that you are that you are having right now are about, Gomez. You're like, well, is it wise to procreate? My point is I am never going to be in everybody's bedroom to determine if they're procreating or not. Right? I'm not. So when it comes to political solutions, those are things that I don't discuss. So let me see if I can say it this way. That's philosophical. That's philosophical. Like, we can sit around and think about it and debate about it. However, can we deal with what is here right now in this moment? And whether or not we think it's a good idea for people to procreate or not procreate, I think it's a good idea to feed the creations that we have now, especially the kiddos that are getting up and going to school every day.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. And so that means that if I have the ability to participate in a system and elect people that will put those things into place, then I want to do that. Whether I agree, like there are some people that I go, oh, I don't really know that, but not for me to say. Not for me to say. And so I look at the things, not the things that whether I think something is wrong or right, but it's about, does this thing exist now? Does this thing include our children and our grandparents and our elderly? I think about, the state of our elderly in nursing homes and the way that so many of them are living out the last years of their lives. And it is not the way that I believe we should be taking care of our elders. And I just think about the fact that we have the ability to, if we choose, to invest even 5% of our time. Can you imagine, Gomez, what would happen if everyone just gave 5% of their time to making things better and to putting people into office that would put those policies forward?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would we create?
And mind you, Dani, I work 2 jobs. One is I own a business. I am constantly, I never stop moving, and I still make time for this.
Yeah.
All the time. I'll put you on, I'll listen to you, and I'm learning. Even if I don't catch everything, I go back and I'll watch as I'm, doing the dishes, doing chores. I do my best to constantly learn, and I understand that I will never be the smartest person in the room, because
I'm not either.
Right? Nobody is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know what you know until you know.
Right. So, Gomez, let me ask you a question. So did you vote in 2024?
Yes, I did. My wife is very passionately political, and I allowed her to have my vote as well.
Okay. So, and who'd you vote for?
Kamala.
Okay. Just wanted to be okay. So here's what I would say, and I love that you did that for her. I would also say that, and Lisa, let me offer you this too. Okay. If at the end of the day, he shows up at the ballot box and he votes for the people that are going to move us forward, it doesn't have to look the way you want it to. He doesn't have to care the way that you would like for him to care. It doesn't have to show up for him the way that it shows up for you. And so I just want us to remember that the way that some people express is going to be different than the way that some of us express. But the fact of the matter is that he cares enough to show up and vote, and he is participating, and he is listening. And so it just doesn't have to look the way that you would like for it to look. I also think that his brain is the type of brain that loves the philosophical conversation about it all. And your brain is more, we need to fucking eat and get healthcare right now today. And so because of that, it leads to a little bit of a like, oh, can we not talk about whatever, like, you know what I mean? And so I think that there's an opportunity to just be able to, there's an opportunity to just be able to say, okay, we don't have to see it the same way or talk about it the same way. Just ensuring that the two of you all together can say, these are the things that are on the table that are super important. These are the things that we are facing as a country and as a society. And making sure that we are in one accord, and that he understands the severity of those things and he's participating. You know what I mean? So I would say that in and of itself is a win. I would also say, Gomez, that as a man, there's a certain amount of privilege that you have because there are things that you don't have to think about. So when your wife is sharing with you why these things are so important, and when you see her passion, try to kind of put her lenses on and see the very, very threatening, scary world that she's facing.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, because we are a multiracial family. And that, for example, the MMIW thing is huge for me.
Yep.
And I lived it, and it's something that he'll never experience. But this is like a therapy session.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope that makes sense. And Gomez, and he might like, do you know what he might like? He might really like, so he's the type of individual that would do great in a debate space. If he wanted to really take on certain policies, and whether he wanted to marry his analytical brain and that debate style brain that he has with your MMIW issues and things like that, and putting out, I don't know if you guys have ever thought about collaborating together. If he had a fairly modest following on YouTube before, maybe there's an opportunity to marry those things, and engage in work that is meaningful to both of you, and that fulfills the need that you have. So,
yeah, that's something that we can discuss. Like I said in the beginning, I was super nervous about this conversation, and it went so much better than I expected. For the record, guys, he is not depressed. This is just his brain every day, and he challenges me to think and outside of my box, and I appreciate that challenge. If anything, it involves my intelligence and how to see things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I know a lot of people couldn't follow the conversation when he was speaking.
I was doing my best to try and...
You did great.
You did on the railroad tracks without ending up in left field, and I was getting it. I was like, oh no, if I talk about this, I'm going to be stuck here. So,
no, you did great.
I'm sorry.
You did great, and hopefully I answered the questions that you had for me. And if you have any more, I'm happy to answer them as well.
Yeah, do you have any more?
I think that's good for the time being. I really appreciate your time, Dani. Thank you very much.
Yeah, anytime.
So
let me know.
guys.
Appreciate you guys. All right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah. So listen, I want everybody to just remember that when we're listening or in these conversations, it's important that we don't make assumptions about people. It's important that we don't attack people. It's important that we don't do that. It's literally just about having the conversations. And this is one of the reasons why I said I didn't want any background information from people. I just wanted people to bring their loved ones, pop on here, and then let's have the conversations and see what happens. Okay. So I appreciate you. Just a reminder, if you are on Facebook, YouTube, Substack, or Twitch, the link to be able to join the panel is in the comment section, is in the chat. So All right, so I'm gonna do. I'll bring up another individual. So Texas, I just tried to bring you up, and it looked like you tried to load, but you didn't. So if you want to come back up, then just request back up. Dominic, can you help me? Since you got 3 minutes, is Mila asleep already? Good, love it. Can you grab me some water, love? Okay. All right, so I'll bring up another, because I keep hitting yes and people aren't connecting, but we'll just see. Stokes, I accepted you too, and you didn't come up. Where did everybody go? There was like 8 people in the request, and I'm hitting accept, and people aren't making it up. But let's give it a whirl. Hey, Proud, did you mean to request up?
No, I don't know what happened.
I got you. No worries. I keep tapping, and you tapped your way into the box. No worries. All good. Glowworm, did you mean to request up? Here I go. Yeah, the butterflies are cool, aren't they? Thank you. I appreciate you. Glowworm D, did you mean to request up? No? Okay, no worries. No. I just want to make sure. Yeah, so there was like 8 people. I accepted all of them, and then none of them made it up. So we'll give it a second, and we'll breathe, and we'll see who else comes in. I know that there were other people. I do hope that Deborah from the other night is here, and I even hope that maybe she'll join the panel and chat some more. We'll see. So the purpose of this live, you guys, is people kept saying to me, I wish that you could talk to my so-and-so, or I wish you could talk to my daddy, or I wish you could talk to my so-and-so. And I said, okay, you know what? I will make myself available. and so that's what this is about. This was about me getting on this app and on the platforms and saying, okay, listen, you have questions, you want to talk things through, whether you're a non-voter, whether you're a third-party voter, whether you are MAGA, GOP / Republicans, Trump supporter, whatever. This is your opportunity to come up and let's talk about it. All right. We are 86 days away from the midterms. And so now is the time to talk it all through. Whether you want to talk about, why you're not voting, or why you support this administration, or why you vote third party, or whether you want to talk about some of the issues, whether that's immigration, whether that's healthcare, education. Tell Mr. Space Ranger I said I appreciate him participating and being 100% vulnerable. So yeah, love that. So this is the chance. And so even if you didn't know this before, right? Okay, Jamie, give me a minute. But so even if you hadn't planned to, and you've got somebody that you want to wrangle on in here, this is your opportunity to do so. This is the chance. Belly, I'm going to give you 15 extra minutes, my love, and then that's it, okay? So you got 15 minutes starting right now. Okay? Yeah, I mean, I think that those were 2 very very engaging, very thoughtful, very respectful conversations. So, I'm game. Donna, I saw you in the comments as well. If you would like to join the panel, we can have that conversation. Yeah, she turns, her birthday is Tuesday. So super excited about that. Yeah. I do have pay links, Trudy. They're just in my link tree somewhere, and then my mods know what they are. I never put them up. So, but they're in my link tree somewhere, and then my mods know what they are. Conchita, if you're in here, I got to message you so I can meet you this week. All right. I still don't see anybody. How's the voting going? I don't know what you mean. You mean midterms? We're not. I mean, we're not voting yet. Primaries have definitely been interesting. There've been some really awesome results. Yeah, yeah, Marky. So, and here's the thing: like, truth, like, it's not that I care less. It would be great to have people hitting up the pay links. I just don't promote it, and I don't ask for it, and I don't whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. Um, and then if somebody asks, then usually one of the mods will throw it in there. Hey, Cincy, and go from there. Her birthday is Tuesday. Girl, no, you all right? You all right, Marky? Um, yeah. But then usually, if somebody asks specifically, then one of the mods will throw them in there. Yep. Yeah, definitely not my only impulse. True story. Can you share how we are doing in the primaries? So I think when you say how are we doing in the primaries, I think that the primaries have been, I think they've been good. You know what I mean? I think the most exciting things for me. Oh, that's awesome, Linda. Let me take a drink. The thing that has me the most excited about these primaries is voter turnout. Voter participation in the primaries is what has me excited the most. In Michigan, when you see 1.5, sure, let's girl, when you see 1.5 million people coming out to participate in the primaries, and that was before they even finished counting, and that being the highest amount since like 1998, that's incredible. And what we know is that higher voter turnout almost always leads to progressive candidates being put into office, right? It just does. Oh, you voted due to me? Love that, DJ. Glad that you voted. Yeah. And so just to give you guys an idea, when you look at Hungary, right, and you looked at Viktor Orban and the dictatorship that he was, and the fact that he had changed the constitution, he had gerrymandered the country. It looked like he was there to stay. And what he quickly found out was when you have an 80% voter turnout, you will end up packing your bags and going the fuck home. Yes, Cam, I can make that happen. I can make that happen. You voted in the primary today. I love that. Listen, you all, the primary is when you get to say who you want your candidate to be. They may or may not win, right? But this is when you get to see. And so this is the part that's really important is so listen, let me give you this analogy. Okay. Not participating in the primaries is like showing up to the general election for an episode of Married at First Sight. Okay. The primaries, right, is love, is love is blind. You know what I mean? You get a chance to date and whatever. But I'm just saying, if you do not participate in the primaries, you are showing up to the general election for an episode of Married at First Sight. Okay. And so I really that's the way that I would think about it. If you want an opportunity to have a say in who the person is that's going to be representing you, to the person that is going to be married to you, so to speak, for the next 4 to 6 years, depending upon what your state is, 2, 4, or 6. Actually, I don't watch those Rescue Squad. My daughter does, and then my oldest daughter got my mom to watch Love Island, if you can believe that or not. But anyway, but that's what it is. And so that's why we want to be engaged in the primaries. this is the opportunity for you to go like all in for the folks that you believe are going to get you closest to the kind of society and the world that you desire to create, right? And so that's the only way that I could explain it to you. You know what I mean? Do you want to have an arranged marriage? That's so listen, not participating in the primaries and voting in the general is like Love is Blind. Not voting at all is having an arranged marriage because somebody else picked your match for you. You hear me? Listen, the primaries, not showing up to the primaries and then voting in the general election is like an episode of Married at First Sight. Not voting in the primaries or the general election is having an arranged marriage. It's being arranged for you by somebody else. And sometimes that might work out, but most times, yeah, it's going to suck. So, how about that? Yeah, I'm just saying. Hey, Mary, I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Hello, you Belle. So, are there any other folks that you want to pop up in here and you've got some questions, or you I don't know, you have thoughts, you have questions, you have feelings, and yeah, it's been a minute, 100%. Um, yeah, we are definitely all on an episode of Big Brother with cameras watching our every move, which is why we need to get rid of data centers and flock cameras, right? Just throwing that in there. You're having a lot of trouble getting your committee motivated with GOTV events. You want to come up and talk about it, Glitzy Girl? It looks like you're having a hard time connecting. Girl, we are all a project. Good afternoon, Money. What's up, T'Challa? Money? Did you mean to request up? Obviously not. Glitzy Girl, you got to request back up. It's not connecting. Whoop. Sometimes I wonder if maybe people watched like the first two conversations and were like, yeah, I'm good. Lisa, did you have questions about the midterms or the elections? Appreciate Linda. Uh, Heidi, I think Linda just put it up there at the top. Oh, you're welcome, Letty. Thanks for being here. Yes, I can do that, Jeff. 100%. Lisa, you're not connecting for some reason. Okay, there it goes. So I'll take Lisa and then I'll go over the principles of Hee for a second.
Okay, is that better?
Yep, I can see you and hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, good Lord, I didn't mean to go on camera. So, what I wanted to discuss was the data centers.
Yeah.
So, I watched another thing from Jerry Green about the data centers. Marsha Blackburn is pushing for them.
Yeah.
We don't know the long-term effects
Right.
of these data centers. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, Lisa, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so you can hear me.
Yes.
I'm having a hard time hearing y'all. So, but anyway, no, my issue is with these data centers. Okay, we don't know that much about them. They've not been around that long. And they're pumping these things up everywhere. And in fact, there's one going in within a mile and a half of me. And I have a big concern about these things.
Yeah.
So I even went out and bought water purifiers to run creek water through if I need to. Because there's not enough information. They've not been out that long, and they keep saying on how it's going to wet burn us, of how it's going to be great for Tennessee.
So
no, it's going to be great for the 1%, but it's not. It's going to hurt us.
Yeah. So
number one, it's taking away our farms.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw, but in Nashville, the city just passed.
I don't know if you saw it, but in Nashville.
Oh, she's got a horrible echo. I'm going to mute you for a second, Lisa, while I talk. So in Nashville, the Metro Council actually passed what it needed to pass to allow the city to purchase the land beside the Nashville Zoo where they were going to put a data center, which is a fantastic move. I think that people are realizing how unpopular data centers are, not only because of their environmental impact, 2 minutes, Bella, but also because of what they're used for, right? It's not just about AI. It is literally about storing all of the data that they are collecting through their mass surveillance, right? And so if you all are not aware, in the Google Drive that I created as part of Project for the People, there's actually a graphic in there for your states that show your data center breakdown by congressional district. So how many there are total for your congressional district, how many of them are already operational, how many of them are planned, and how many of them are under construction. So if you've joined Project for the People, that means you got an email from me. And that email has a link to the Google Drive with access to those graphics and those documents in there for you. So I think that is definitely something for people to continue to talk about, because it is a shared concern that reaches across the aisle and is great for conversations. Lisa, did you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I just the one they're putting in Lawrenceburg, or supposedly putting in Lawrenceburg, I never saw this sleepy little town stand up more than I have right now. They are actually negotiating not putting it here because too many of the people, they're putting it out in the Amish community. Well, they're throwing a fit about it because everything that they grow is organic. So, and they use the creek water. They only have well water. And out there in that area, that's where I grew up. We all had well water. So what's it going to do to the wells? But anyway, that's just my concern. I'm like you. I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. I'm an American. And I'm going to vote for whoever I think is going to do the best job for us. So, but these data centers concern me.
As they should. Rightfully so. Yeah, appreciate you, Lisa.
Rightfully so. Yeah,
all right, bye-bye. Okay. No, she's in Tennessee, Rebel. She's in Tennessee. Yeah, I mean, Cincy, if you want to chat about it, just go ahead and request up. All right. What's up, Jamie?
Hey, you guys. Hi, family.
So I invited my friend, and she didn't come, but I just wanted to share some things that she shared with me, and how different, the feeds, the algorithm that she hears and listens to compared to mine. And so the conversation started, and I know this woman's heart, right? Yeah. So the conversation started with, I asked Ryer to come to Grand Haven to vote because this is a very serious election. And she goes, oh God, like who I was voting for. And it was Abdul, right? And I said, Kelly, I don't know about you, but this administration is hurting people that I loved, Black and brown people and LGBTQIA people. Mm-hmm. And she goes, no, they're not. And I go, as a matter of fact, they are. And she says, well, Muslims are taking over Dearborn, Michigan, and they want to take the state over. And I said, what? And she says, yes. And I said, well, if that's happening, how come ICE isn't picking them up? That they're, immigrants. And, she was telling me that, those people in India or in, the Middle East. And I said, well, if there's a problem, and she goes, and I said, taking them to a detention center. And she goes, what do you mean detention center? I said, yeah. I said, they hold them so they can make money. It's a profit, it's a for-profit prison. She goes, where? Who is? And I said, we have one in Baldwin, Kelly. Yeah. I said, we have one in Baldwin. And I said, they have to hold them for 30 days. I thought they wanted to ship them back. Why aren't they deporting them? I wish they would. And she goes, they aren't. And I go, no. And a lot of them are being moved before the 60 days and like hiding them or keeping them longer for profit. She says, well, that's not what I'm reading. And I said, and then we got to the God thing. And she's a Christian. And she says, I said, and this isn't a Christian nation, Kel. And she goes, well, in God we trust. I said, yeah, but what God? Not the Christian God. I could go on if you want to, respond. Yeah. So here's what I would say. What I would say to her is when she said, well, that's not what I'm reading. The next thing out of my mouth would have been, so what are you reading? Well, and that's what I said. And so I said, I'd like to read the things that you're reading. And then, so I've shared some things with her, mm-hmm. And she hasn't responded. I said, because Kelly, it's really us against, our government. We really have to know what's going on here. And so I talked about Project for the People, and I said, she's got a link tree that's loaded with all of these things that we're discussing. And I said, and it's nonpartisan. Dani's an independent. And she comes with facts. People lie, facts don't. Here I am learning all this stuff from you, but you know what I mean? Anyway. Yeah. So here's what and this is always what's the tricky part. When we are having conversations with our friends and family, we tend to go into tell them mode. Right? Okay. We tend to go into tell them mode instead of curiosity mode, because we think we already know them. And so we've got this narrative already about who they are and what they think and because we know what's best for them and we know what they just need to hear and what they need to understand. Right. And then surely that'll be the thing that flips the switch. So in these types of conversations, it's always not, oh, I would love to read the thing that you're reading because nope. It's, so where are you reading? What are you reading? Did she ever tell you what she's reading? Exactly. No. So it's not the same thing. Saying, oh, I'd love to read what you're reading is not the same thing as what are you reading? Okay. I'm writing this down, I got pen and paper. I know, but you see the difference? One is, what are you reading? And the other is, oh, well, I'd love to read what you're reading because what I know, that shit ain't true. Like, nope, they're not the same thing. So the sentiment is, so what's the thing that you're reading? If you can give it to me right now, I'll look it up because I want to read what you're reading. Because one of the things that I do, because I don't read everything that I don't believe everything that I read. Just because I read it doesn't mean that it's so. And then literally, I will get 2 or 3 different sources and then I get to the primary source, like especially if the source is a document. So it's really easy to be able to verify, Kelly, how many people we have actually deported versus how many people
are being held in detention centers across the country. And so that's an easy thing to get, and you can get it directly from the Department of Homeland Security. Here's the report.
I did ask one. Yep, that's really good. And I did ask one question, and I actually ask this a lot because then I can see where people are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
If I ask one of my white friends if they know their privilege and they say yes, I look at them differently than if someone says we're all equal.
Of course.
You know what I mean? I kind of like evaluate who I'm dealing with. And she said, "Oh, 100% I'm privileged because of the color of my skin." So that was a good check.
Right. I think people knowing that they have privilege and knowing so here's the thing. She apparently is aware of her privilege and is okay with using her privilege to cause harm to Black and brown people. That's what I would have said. That's what I would have said. And the minute she said, "Yes, I know my privilege because of the color of my skin," I said, "Oh, so you're okay using that privilege to hurt Black and brown people." Got it.
Okay.
And then she's gonna give you pushback, right? She's gonna give you pushback. And so the next thing out of your mouth, it's just literally, okay, so share with me how the policies and the people that you're voting for is actually benefiting Black and brown people.
Yeah. And then we discussed, I said, 400,000 Black women have lost their jobs. And she goes, "What, DEI?" Well, they weren't qualified.
Yeah. So again, let me just say that she might know she has privilege, but your friend's a bigot. Just saying. Your friend's a bigot, Jamie.
Right.
Like real talk. She's a bigot. Yeah. So this is why it's going to be difficult for you to have this conversation with her. So when she says DEI, I would ask her, I would say, so can you share with me what DEI is? And it's DEIA, as a matter of fact. It's DEIA, and can you share with me what your understanding of DEI is?
Well, the example that I gave is
not what you gave, but listen,
okay.
You are telling. When you say it, listen, if I cannot tell you all anything else, you need to remember this. When you say it, they doubt it. When they say it, when they discover it for themselves, they believe it.
I just talked about this administration not being qualified is what that's kind of how I.
But that's you saying it, and she's not going to believe it.
Right. Okay. I needed this because I think this is where I'm getting stuck.
Yeah. Because you just want to fact vomit and think that's going to change them. It's not what happens.
Right.
That's not what happens. It's literally you've got to take her on an Easter egg hunt. Right now, you are standing in the yard going, "There's the fucking blue egg. There's the green egg. There's the red egg. There's the yellow egg. Pick up the damn eggs." And it is no fun. And she's like, "I don't like this Easter egg hunt. I don't like those." No.
I don't have a good approach.
So remember this. So having conversations, and for those of y'all, some of y'all are like, "What the fuck is Dani talking about?" Okay, so listen, I give Easter egg hunts as an example of how to have these conversations. So if you've ever taken a young kid out for an Easter egg hunt after you have hidden all the eggs, right? Or period, you know where the egg is. You're the adult. You see the egg, but you don't point to the egg and go, "Get that one, Joey," because now you've taken all the fun out of it. Joey didn't find the egg. It's not a hunt. So it's not really Joey's egg anymore. It's the egg that you gave Joey and told Joey where it is. And that's not as much fun. And it doesn't give now he doesn't have any ownership. It wasn't his journey to find the egg. So the key in these conversations is to ask questions, right? Give hints, ask more questions, and lead them to the egg without them knowing you're leading them, right? That's the whole it. So that when they discover, you're like, "Yay, it's an Easter egg hunt." That's it.
Also, she didn't know anything about Project 2025. And she also didn't know about white Christian nationalists running the show.
Okay, I don't believe either of those two things. I don't. I do not believe that she is someone that is living in MAGA land that has not heard about Project 2025, even if all she heard was that it was bullshit or that he didn't have anything to do with that. If she is telling you, I don't know anything about it, I call bullshit.
Okay.
I call bullshit. She don't want to know.
And I said, Project Esther too. I brought them both up. Yeah.
She might not know Project Esther, but she absolutely knows Project 2025. It's too mainstream for her not to know.
Right. And I talked about the ERA and women's rights and how it hasn't been passed.
Yeah, you just fact vomited all over her. Yeah, you just was like, you were just like, look at all the shit I know. Now don't you want to vote different? And she was like, that's really messy. No, I don't like it. Yep. And that's okay, right? That's okay. But so it's just saying, so now it's about, so remember, you've got to keep your curiosity, because so here's what you want to learn. Jamie, you want to learn how this person who is a friend of yours, who you believe you know so well, is here.
Exactly.
But you're not asking the questions to find out. You've got zero understanding about her. And what did we say the purpose of conversations are?
Connection.
And to gain what?
Trust and truth.
Not trust at the fuck all. And definitely not truth, because that's whatever. It's understanding.
Oh,
we want to gain understanding,
right.
Even if we don't gain agreement.
Oh, right. Understanding. Yeah, you're right.
It's to gain understanding.
I was thinking of all the
right. So you want to ask yourself, do you understand her? And if you don't, it's because you're not asking questions.
Yeah, and one more thing. What was the last thing? I wrote these down. What was the last thing? It'll come to me. Anyway, it's my approach. And this is what I needed, because I try to, like, when I make my connections, like at the like at the store the other day, and I was talking to the people,
yeah,
I kind of was kind of vague and just kind of let them look up their own information, but I'd like to, with my friends, be able to talk, and I'm really learning. This has been great tonight. I'm glad I'm up, because it's my approach. It's my approach.
It's just, I said, this girl is just fact vomiting everything. Wait a minute, let me tell you about this. You don't know about the Esther Project? What about what about Project?
Like that, and my heart rate was up.
Right. Yes. Yeah. It's because you have an opportunity, and so you're like, oh my God, she's listening. Let me just give it all to her right now. And think about it, and it's too much, right? And so here's the key. Remember, you guys, when we're in these conversations with people, it's about listening for connection. It's about listening for connection and gaining understanding. It's not about converting somebody. You're not on a mission trip for manifest destiny.
Yeah. And if I leave something out, it's okay. Even if I focus on a couple of things, right?
Yeah. You don't got to go all over the world. You don't got to go through all the different subjects. No, just pick one.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And then go from there, right? That's it.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing. I just remembered. I said they need to lift the cap off of Social Security, and she said that's not true. The 184.5.
It's 170.
And you don't have to pay.
Yeah,
or whatever the number. It went up. So, and she goes, that's false, because we're in that bracket. We're above that bracket. That is not true.
Yeah. So I would just say to her, so have you looked it up, like how it works? And if I were to show you, like, from the Social Security Administration, where it says how much people have to pay in.
Right.
What would you say?
She said it was a lie. That's false information.
But I would ask her. So if you read it on the Social Security Administration's website, is it still a lie? If this administration says that's the damn cutoff, is it still a lie?
Right. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And like I said, my heart rate was up, and it was like, wow.
I know.
But I understand it's my approach 100%.
It's just coming down a notch and asking questions and gaining understanding. That's the goal.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Appreciate you 100%. Always. So Donna, if you want to continue to ask questions, Donna, you're going to need to come onto the panel because no one is going to respond to you in the chat. I just want to be clear. And I'm just going to be very direct. You appear to be here to only be a distraction or to be, what's up, Southern Chick, or to, to be a distraction or to be negative or whatever. So no one else is going to engage with you in the chat. So if you want to have a conversation with me and get your questions answered, you'll need to join the panel in order to do that. Okay. What's up, Nance? Okay. So, I'm going to bring a couple of, I'm going to bring the next person up. Hey, nurse. So just remember, you guys, it's about our conversations, and all of that. I'm going to do one more person and then I'm going to take a quick, bladder break, touch up water, and then I'll be right back. Okay. So, give me 1 second. Hey, Lily. And remember, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Substack, or Twitch, the link for you to be able to join the panel on your platform is in the chat. Oh, thanks, Lisa. Appreciate that. So, Martin, I clicked you and you didn't come up. Glitzy Girl, I know that you're going to take just a second. So, if we could, can I get a mod to give me a quick break and let me have a bladder break, and then I'll come right back? Because I literally have done... Yeah, I mean, Josh, that's entirely up to you. Then don't vote. So you got to understand, nobody's here to convince you to do anything. If you type the sentence and says, don't care, I'm not going to vote in the midterms, I'm not arguing with you. Don't vote. Thank you, Red Hot. Guys, I'll be right back.
Hey, everybody. Good evening. Please continue to tap the screen for Dani. We want to have more people that can listen to these conversations. They've been really great. Watching Bluey, Cam. Okay, sound like me and my grandkids. Anyway, please, if you haven't got your daily heart meat, go ahead and grab that next to Dani's name. Let me turn my volume off for my phone. Good Lord. Also, please remember Dani's rules while you're in here. All she asks is that you be respectful, no slurs, no comment spamming, no all caps, and just be cool, because that's what we are in here. I've worked all day today. I'm exhausted. Bluey's the greatest, Cam. I hear the song in my dreams, I think, at this point. Hey.
What did I just come back here into?
Oh, Cam was talking about she's watching Bluey. So I was.
Oh, girl, listen, I know that music.
Right.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Red Hot. I appreciate you. All right, here we go. So, Litzy Girl, let's see if your connection is any better. Oh, you're not there. QC. Nope, I accepted you. You're not there. Mel Gray, did you mean to request up? I don't know if you were tapping away or if you just requested up by accident. So for those of you who are asking, yes, I will be taking these clips and putting them into little segments, and I'll share them on the socials as well as on the podcast. What's up, Mel Gray?
Well, going back to Jamie's conversation, I've noticed with my MAGA brothers, my stubborn MAGA brothers, that I do best in talking with them when I remove any and all emotion from it.
Yeah.
I can't have a conversation with them if there is any sort of vested interest in it.
So, wait, hold on a second, Mel Gray. So, Deborah, is this the Deborah from the documentary the other night? So, Deborah on Facebook, are you the Deborah from the documentary the other night? Y'all, if this is the Deborah from the other night, not only is she here, but she has her daughter Lily on as well. Let me just see. I don't know if this is that Deborah or a different Deborah. I want to say yes, but I don't remember the exact name. So let me just see. I'll wait for her to respond back in the chat. Yeah, especially on Facebook, right, Cam? It's Mascenik, Cam. Mascenik. And of course you do. Yeah. So, and Melgrade, to your point, while I wait for the chat to catch up with me over here, and to your point, sometimes it is productive when you're having conversations with people that are super close to you. Not necessarily to like remove all. It's not the emotion that you're removing from it. It's the expectation. The expectation is what makes you emotional. It's the expectation. It's that's not it. Okay, got it. Thanks, Cam. I think that's why it threw me. Well, so this actually she has a hyphenated name. She has Smith with a Y and then Mascenik. But anyway, okay, we can role play it, Kat. And listen, that's the other thing that we can do. If you are somebody that wants to role play, having conversations with people, we can also do that. So I can talk to people directly. I can also role play with you guys, whatever you guys want to do to make the most out of this time. Okay, so it's your time.
Asking questions is a fantastic way. Things that like, what does that look like?
Yep.
Tell me more about that.
Okay.
And
thanks, Cam.
Eventually, I found my brothers getting to the end of their little MAGA little blurbs and just being kind of speechless, which is very unusual for them because they talk and they will talk right over the top of you.
Gotcha. Deborah, I thought so, but you know, where everybody's like, "Ooh," and I couldn't remember last names. But I love that you're here and that you brought Lily as well. So yay! We love that. Okay, so yeah, so this is my thing. The questions is how we get people like to questions is how we get them to take step forward, right? They discover the information when they are looking for the answers to the questions that we ask.
Really, I found my brothers just kind of stumped looking for answers beyond the MAGA soundbite.
Love that. Oh, I love that for you, Deborah. Yeah. And how's that worked from there as well? We've had 2 really good conversations so far. So actually 3.
When I can step back and not get mad at them for not meeting my expectations, it works really well.
Imagine that, when you can separate sisterhood from the conversation.
And I was actually having a conversation on one of my visits with them, and my little brother whips out he was complaining about DEI, and he's like, well, all these people that they've hired that blah, 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 they're so unqualified. And I looked at him and I'm like, oh, you've never had to work with an unqualified white guy?
So this would have been my question. Can you share with me who's not been qualified?
Yes.
Because if you say you've never had to work with an unqualified white guy, you're adding credence to the idea that DEI is about hiring unqualified people, and it's not. Right? So for me, what I would ask instead is, can you give me an example of one of the individuals that you believe was hired that isn't qualified for the job under DEI? And can you tell me what DEI is? Because DEI is not about hiring people. People don't get hired under DEI.
It was really funny, though. The next time that I went for a visit, I live on the other side of the state from them, so I don't see them very frequently.
Yeah.
But he was having a conversation with somebody, and that thought came out of his mouth. But then he stopped himself, and he said, but I've worked with unqualified people that are white.
That's funny. So now it's about taking it a step further, right? That's the key, though. So it's important. So a lot of times, what I see happening across the board is people will make a point. So, for example, when someone has talked about DEI in reference to Black and Brown people, I've seen other people come flying out of their mouth and say the people that benefited the most from DEI policies were white women. What you're doing again is you are reinforcing this belief system that DEI is about hiring people who are in minority groups, and that is not what DEI is about at all.
That's equal opportunity employment.
Right. That's equal opportunity employment. And so, hey, Alexander, so it's important that in our responses to people that we aren't responding in a way that reinforces an incorrect belief that they have about a particular policy, right? Because that's not what it's about. And the initiatives around DEI aren't about hiring and firing either. It has to do about workforce and equity and representation and being better peers, right? If I don't know anything about different types of people, then I might not know the things that I am doing intentionally or unintentionally that are offensive, that make the workplace an unsafe environment. That's one of the biggest benefits to having your mom, Linda, is listening. Love that, Alex. So, but that's part of it, right? Is the reason why having diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility training is to allow us to try on the lenses from different groups of people in different spaces and different experiences so that we can better understand the world that they live in. I'll tell you something. If you have never, one of the most enlightening things that I ever did from an access perspective was to look at housing from the perspective of a I know, Alex. um, but to look at housing from the perspective of someone that is wheelchair bound. If you have never looked at housing from the perspective of someone who lives every single day in a wheelchair, it's wild. Things that we don't think about at all. We don't think about the height of our countertops. We don't think about the way that the openings for our doorways. We don't think about the functionalities for getting into showers and tubs. We don't think about, like, it's not just about ramps and elevators. There's so many things about our day-to-day life. The opening, if you've got an island or a countertop that's connected in your kitchen, like just understanding that the world is built for the standard, right? The norm, like the commonality is a certain bar stool, counter stool, like right, knob heights, door handles, like when you walk into a kitchen, people are like, oh look, there's tons of cabinet storage. Yeah, all up on the damn ceiling where nobody can reach it. And so that is the benefit of DEI, is it is about it is enabling you. So imagine this. So this is like Dani's illustration for DEI all on the fly. Are you ready? So DEI is about having a table, and at the table is a person that represents a bunch of different people. So one of the people at the table is a cis white hetero male. Another person at the table is a cis homosexual white male. The next person at the table is a cis white woman. But you get it. There's going to be a black man, a trans woman, a trans man, a black man, a black woman, a Puerto Rican, a Hispanic, and an Asian, an Indian American, Native American, somebody that's in wheelchair bound, somebody that is blind, somebody that is deaf, somebody that is an immigrant, somebody that is, all of those different things, right? And each of them has a pair of glasses that allows you to see all of the challenges obstacles, advantages, disadvantages, and roadblocks that are in their life because of who they are, right? And so just imagine what DEIA does is it allows all of those people to have a seat at the table and then pass their glasses around. That's what DEI does. DEI allows you to put on the glasses of your Indigenous coworker. It allows you to put on the glasses of your trans worker. It allows you to put on the glasses of your Black peer, right? So that you get the ability to see life through their lens. Because without them at the table, without the opportunity to put on their glasses, you have no clue what their experience is. And that's the way that I explain DEI. DEIA is about allowing us to put on the glasses of other people so you can see what their life is. It's not about, oh, well, they automatically get hired or they automatically get fired. It's DEI says you're already at the table. Your qualifications got you to the table, right? You're at the table for a reason. And so DEIA allows us to learn it, right? So last of the Mohica, you understand not to use caps in this room. You've been in here before, right? You don't have to mute them yet, Cam. You were quick on it. But last of the Mohica, you've been in here before. So if you continue to type in all caps, you will be muted and then booted. And if you want to be a part of this conversation, you will need to join the panel. Oh, you told them already, Cam? I'm just saying. So you understand how that works. So make good choices, sir. Nancy, I'm coming to you next. But does that make sense, Mel Gray? And so I know that it's catching himself, and now he goes, "Oh well, yeah, I've had to do that too." But now he still doesn't understand what DEI is.
Can work on educating.
I know. A little bit at a time. A little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Yep. But no, I appreciate you. And we need to get together. I put it on my calendar already, but we'll get together on details and things like that.
I'm so excited.
Yay. Love that. All right. Appreciate you. All right. So I'm going to bring up Nance next. Hi, lady. How are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Oh, good. Oh, I just wanted to tell you, the other day you were talking about how the U.S. was, how they were treating women in the U.S., like Iran and other countries. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you my experience at the Michigan License Bureau.
Okay.
And my birthday was in July, and so was my husband's. And he and I went down there to get our licenses renewed. And we went down there and got them renewed, but no one said anything about getting them enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got our licenses, and then we got home, and then people started telling us, well, you can't fly and you can't cross the border because you don't have that stupid star.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, last week, I booked an appointment for he and I, and to get the enhanced.
Yeah.
So we went in there and I took my birth certificate, the license I had, my military ID, so did he, and went in there to get the enhanced. So we both kind of went to the counter at the same time. And the girl said, I handed her my military ID and my birth certificate and my license that I had just gotten renewed. And I said, okay, so I want it enhanced.
Yeah.
And she said, well, you have to have your marriage certificate. Mm-hmm. And I said, what? The military, the U.S. government has given me a military ID, and you're telling me I have to bring my marriage certificate?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you're not that person. I'm going, what? They're saying I'm that person. They're giving me military benefits, and you're saying I'm not that person? Right.
And you just gave me an ID. You just gave me a regular ID that said the same thing.
Right. I said, I don't understand this. And
Yeah.
she said, well, you have to bring a marriage certificate. So my husband's standing there. He goes, well, what about me? And she goes, oh, no problem with you. You can go right through. You can get your enhanced, no problem.
Because you gave him, you took his last name.
Right.
Yep.
But I mean, but he didn't take my name. But so he went right through, and they gave him the enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they said, well, we'll book another appointment. And I said, okay, so you'll have to bring your what did I say? I had to bring
your marriage license.
My marriage certificate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay. So I booked it this week, next week. I said, okay, so I'll bring my marriage certificate to prove my that I was Messer. That's my maiden name.
Yeah.
They said, okay, that goes along with my birth certificate. So anyway, I got home. Now I was married before my husband for a year. And I said, you know what, honey? I'll look at our marriage certificate. So he went down and he got it. And he goes, it says
your other name.
That your name is Nancy K. Reeser, which is my first husband's last name. And I went, well, they're gonna want my divorce papers.
They are, yes.
And I said, you know what? This is just a pain in the ass for me.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? Someone that's trying to register to vote, this is terrible.
Not only that, someone who doesn't have, because every time you go to get a copy of these papers, let's just say you have to go get them from your state or whatever, it costs money.
Well, yeah. Well,
it costs money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah,
so
right.
So like for me, I literally keep those documents with me. So I do. I have my birth certificate, my social security card, my marriage certificate, my divorce papers. I have all of them to be able to show. But this is what the SAVE Act, exactly, Linda. This is what the SAVE Act would do for all married women across the entire country. It is 100% a poll tax. It is 100% a poll tax for being a woman that has chosen to marry a man. And so what I say is, women, we should just stop marrying them and stop taking their names.
Well, can you imagine a woman that's like been married like 3 times? What
Yeah.
she'd have to go through?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, this is my thing. You want to start regulating what we can or can't do with our bodies, and trying to tell us, what we can do with if we're pregnant, if we're not pregnant. You want to dictate to us, what paperwork we need if we choose to marry you and take your last name. So guess what we should stop doing? Just marrying you, and we'll stop having your babies too.
Yeah. I absolutely could not believe it. And then I said, you're going to just give it to him and you're not going to give it to me. I can't believe this.
Yeah.
She goes, well, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. And, and so you might wanted to ask, so can you show me where that is in your policy? Because that's what the SAVE Act is going to do. But I don't know that exists right now. You can ask, but they may.
Luckily, I found my husband did. He keeps good records. He was in the military.
Yeah.
He said he found my divorce papers.
Got it.
And I looked on my divorce papers and it said divorce from my first husband and my name is Nancy K. Greaser. And then I kept reading and it said my maiden name. Her previous name was. And I went, oh my God, thank God.
Yeah. And you might want to call him in advance and make sure that's good enough. And that you don't need your marriage certificate to the first one too.
Oh my God. Well,
it's still the same. There. So Jamie, here's the thing. It's still the same. Even if you have your name hyphenated.
Jamie's my daughter.
Yeah, I know. So, but even if you keep your maiden name with your new last name, you still have to provide the marriage certificate because now you need to show how you got both of those names.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, it's a real thing, folks.
It's just horrible. I mean, I'm right away. I'm going. I got in the car with my husband. I said, "How's a person going to register to vote?"
So
this is ridiculous.
This
woman.
is
I mean,
so,
a woman.
Nancy, this is a great 2.5 minute reel that you could record and throw on your social media. That is a real account from a real person with a real experience, and people would benefit from hearing about.
I'm assuming this would happen at any state, right?
Many states it does. Like I've had it happen in a state that's in the South. Jamie's had, Brandy had it happen in Tennessee. So, but the thing about it is that these are the types of things, when these things are happening to you. Look, Jamie said she'll record you. That's exact. I mean, I'm just telling you. So, and one of the reasons why it would be beneficial for you to do it is number one, you get to use your privilege. Not only are you white and a woman, but you're also the wife of a veteran. There's a lot of privilege that comes with you, and a lot of what some people would say would be, reliability. There's confidence factors in you. And so you being able to tell that story firsthand. And when you tell it, I would literally say, I went to the VA on this particular date. I got my ID, and then realized I wasn't going to be able to, I was told I wouldn't be able to do these things, because I need a particular kind of ID. So I went back to the place that just gave me the ID that I have. A new, right? So you just verified me and gave me a new ID, but now because I want enhanced, now I have to jump through hoops.
Right. So I, like I said to my husband, I said, obviously my military ID means absolutely nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
And so that's what I'm saying is so I just consider it, see how that sits with you. But if you want, so when we start to think about what are the things that we can do that would have an impact, what are the things that we can do that would be beneficial, you being able to put that information out and having that information kind of get out there is helpful. I mean, yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. Appreciate you, Nance.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah, no, bye-bye. In some places, real ID isn't enough. Correct. All right. Folks, it's important for us to understand did you see how easy? So, gosh, I don't know if Lucid and Gomez are still in here or not, but if you are, Gomez, what Nancy just did is a perfect example of how you fit it in, right? So her taking 2.5, 3 minutes to record a video about that experience and putting it out on social media, right? So that we can all share it. That's a way that you fit it in with your regular life. That's the way that you do that, right? So, I appreciate it, Jamie. I love that, right? But this is how, because what happens to you matters. And you have to start asking yourself, do I exist in a world in which I have any sort of privilege where I have what might be perceived an automatic credibility? Do I have the ability to make an impact somewhere? And if so, what does it require? So I'm just saying. Hey there, Helen. How are you?
I'm good, Dani. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. What you got for me?
Hey, well, I was listening to your conversation and just wanted to add something because, as you know, I'm a real estate agent. So this was back, pre 9/11 and that type of thing when they started making us do that for the enhanced driver's license, but not the say that driver's license. And I had a client that was 96 years old and she was selling a property. And she had been married 5 times, okay? 3 of those times the husband had died, okay? Mm-hmm. But what I wanted to point out there is it was easy for her to get the non-enhanced license because she was just using her current driver's license and reapplying for a new one. This lady's license expired. And she had been married and divorced or had a husband that died in 5 different states.
Good God.
I mean, we're talking a freaking nightmare.
Yeah.
She's 90 years old. Records, who knows where the records are? She has none of them. One was in Virginia. One was in North Carolina. I mean, it was a freaking nightmare. finally the title company was a title company I used all the time. She said, Helen, I'm just going to waive it for you. Okay. I trust that she is, and you are, I'm just going to waive it. I'll take the heat of it if there's a problem.
Wow.
We could not have gotten of those for her. So that was another end. So don't ever let that expire. Ever. And let your driver's license expire, because that's when they make you jump the hoops. But now it looks like the is going to do that anyway if it goes through. So anyway, that's what I wanted. Expire.
Yeah, great. Yeah, whatever you have now, do not let it expire. 100%. Yeah, appreciate you, Helen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks.
Good conversation today.
Yeah, thank you. It's been good. Hopefully, we'll get a couple more before we wrap up. Okay, so folks, let me just let me give you a couple of things. Okay. So the purpose today is I was asked to make myself available. Oh, you will absolutely be on the same page. It's possible. A couple of things, folks. So if you are MAGA, GOP, Republican, Trump supporters, voting third party, or a non-voter, or you just have questions, right? This is your opportunity. This is a full out, I'm just available to have conversations, to ask questions, to do whatever. You know, some of the core issues that we talk about in this space a lot are about HEHE, right? That's the acronym that I use, HEHE. So healthcare, education, housing, economic mobility. Those are the things that I think the vast majority of Americans are most concerned with and impact our daily lives. And so those are some of the areas that we want to focus on. So if you have questions or thoughts about those things, I'm more than happy to help and have that conversation with you. So I saw something else in the chat, but I lost it now. So don't blame me, folks. I did the best I could. Bobby, did you mean to request up? Alex, it was okay. It was good. It was good to get out for a minute and breathe with my friends. But you know, that was it. Just a few hours out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome, Sin. All right, Miss Bobby, what you got?
I wanted to hear more about the bill to join our military with Israel's military, and why that's not a good thing, because I mentioned it to my mom and she Googled it and said that it's not really joining our militaries because it's only using some of the same technology. It's not actually joining the military that, you know, the PolitiFact or whatever says that it's not really true.
Yeah. So it's not about integrating the troops together. So the question that I would ask your mom is, what does she believe determines the actions of our military, right? It's intelligence, right? Intelligence is what you know we kind of thrive on. Our technology, our intelligence, all of those different types of things. That's how we dictate what our military does. Do we want, in any way, shape, and form, for our military and our military intelligence and our technology to be coming from a foreign government? And if it's such a good idea, why have we never done it with the UK, which is our oldest ally in history?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the other thing is there's a document that's in my link tree that walks you through what that proposal looks like. And it is literally us giving Israel billions of dollars every single year with zero obligation on their part. And, you know, what people need to understand is it's not about whether or not our troops are actually mixed together. It's about our technology, our systems, our technology infrastructure, is not a good idea. We don't ever want to have our military intelligence, our military technology, and things like that dictated by, designed by, or shared with a foreign government. We don't remain sovereign that way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I did a live on this where I covered it really in depth, where I went through like the parts that it outlines. And then I also drew a parallel from the part that it outlines to the project. So there was a special report that was written by the Heritage Foundation that asked us to take our relationship with Israel from one of special relationship to one of strategic partnership. And so I covered that pretty extensively, and I put that in my link tree as well. Right. Facial recognition developed and used not just in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Lebanon. Yeah. All of those places. So. But if she wants to pop in and listen or chat at some point, Bobby, I'm more than happy to talk about it a little bit more in depth as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. All right, let's see. What's up, B Action?
Well, Dani, I talked to you the first time, I think last Sunday, and I talked about that those petitions would be a great icebreaker.
Yeah.
That was foolish.
Why?
Well, the great icebreaker is, did you know, or, no wars, no culture wars.
Yeah.
It doesn't require an address or anything.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing. And so here's what I would say to people is people don't have to put their street address if they don't want to. They can put their county, their city, and their state.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. The street address just makes it a little bit more like definitive. And so that's what I would just tell people. Listen, this is going to our state legislature. So guess what? I already know what county, city, and state you're in because you're sitting in my face.
Yeah, but the comeback was, or are they going to send me mail? And I don't want da.
So here would be my question to you.
Easier.
Yeah. So this is me. I just call people out because that's just bullshit. That's bullshit response, and I don't let people do that. So when people go, oh, are they going to send me mail? If they do, throw it out with the rest of your fucking junk mail. Do you want dirty money out of politics? Yes or no? I don't want to hear like it's BS. So listen, when you're talking to people, you got to understand that people are going to say anything to simply get you out of their face. And so one of the things, and so let me share this with you. So one of the things that I do is, okay, so when I'm doing, God, I feel like I need to do another workshop soon. I haven't done a workshop in forever. So those of you guys who remember in 2024 and early 2025, I was doing free workshops about every 6 to 8 weeks or so, and everybody was invited. And one of the workshops that I do is about this type of stuff. It's about how to have these conversations, how to talk to people, how to organize. And so one of the components of that is when to overcome an objection. So number one, let me ask you all a question. What is an objection?
Are they going to send me mail?
Yeah. So that's not, do you know what an objection really is? If someone is giving you an objection, it's really because they need more information. If an objection is a request for more information, that's what an objection is. And sometimes objections they're not really objections, but a real objection is one that asks for more information. Other ones are just people pivoting because they want to get out of it. But here's the thing. The best time to come over to overcome an objection is before you ever get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The best time to overcome an objection is before you get it. And so what does that look like when it comes to this petition? Here's what it looks like. It looks like, hey, listen, I'm talking to people in my community today because, you know, we've got a petition about getting super PAC and corporate money out of politics. A lot of people on every side of every aisle are concerned about that. And so I wanted to speak with you for a moment, see if I can get 2 minutes of your time to see if this is something that you disagree with. And would you like to get corporate PAC money and big corporate money out of our politics? And they're going to say, yeah, of course. Great. So listen, I'm only going to take 2 minutes of your time. Swear, you can put me on a timer, 120 seconds. You ready? Okay. So the purpose of this petition is I want to get 100 signatures so I can send them all to our state legislature. It asks for your street address, your county, your city, and your state. However, I understand if you don't want to put your street address down, don't blame you. It's okay. They'll be able to know who you are. No worries. Things that people have often been concerned about is like, okay, so are they going to send me mail? Are they going to call me? Are they going to do whatever? Here's what I would tell you, no often than the spammers already do today. So if you get some junk mail, throw it in the trash like everybody else and keep it pushing. Because for me, I think it's worth it. And do you think it would be worth it to get a couple of pieces of junk mail from your legislator if they were going to pass legislation that took dark money out of politics?
Yeah, well, I was doing it at work.
Yeah.
You know, so kind of friendly environment.
Yeah.
And that wasn't in the petition. That was the other petition.
The armed
voting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would lead with the dark money out of politics.
Absolutely.
That's the one that I would lead with. And so what I want you to think about, folks, is when you're going to be talking to people that you know, especially, think about what are some of the objections they might have right off the bat and answer them before they can ask them. Answer them before they can ask them.
If I could, I've really been wanting to talk to you about this. Remember just a week or so ago, you put out a link about microcosm, macrocosm.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you know, my union, and I'm not going to name it, I don't think TikTok would like that, is a microcosm of our country and maybe even the world. Because there was the worst kind of betrayal like about 10 years ago. And so basically, like for 10 years, I've just been trying to talk people into not hating our union, hating what happened, but also accepting responsibility that, you know, we as members have a responsibility. We're supposed to be one of the checks. We're supposed to hold our local accountable. Our local is supposed to hold our international accountable. But we have to know and understand how things work. And, you know, most of the people don't even know how to pull the levers effectively of their own union.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fifth generation, this particular union, but I didn't hire in until I was 50 years old. Okay, so that was like in 2013. And at the same time that everything was going on with our politics, you think about 2013, 14, 15.
Yeah.
The same kind of stuff was going on with my union. And there was indictment after indictment after indictment. And so people's faith is really waning and has been. The entire time I've been there. But I still think that that's my circle one opportunity. And I think my greatest opportunity, you know, if I had the confidence to do it, I do have a decent relationship with my local union president.
Mm-hmm.
And he just got the job, just won it. He was vice president. But I really feel like showing a film of you is what I would really, that's really what I would like to do. I think that's my greatest opportunity.
It's
not that I don't want to do flyers. I still want to do all of that. I don't want to start with the petition. I want to start with, you know, did you know, and culture wars. And I'm very comfortable with that. And, you know, Sometimes it leads to conversation and sometimes it doesn't. But
so it's funny that you say that.
Much pressure.
I will tell you this. It's funny that you say that because at one of the last events where I was the keynote speaker for a particular rural caucus, one of the bigwigs for a very, very, very big union had a conversation with me and said, "How much would you charge us to come to our?" It was like to their main event, and
constitutional convention or something.
It was like their annual whatever, and
okay.
And there, we exchanged some conversations. And if you want me to be honest, because that conversation for whatever reason cooled, but it cooled. I think that there have been opportunities that cooled or that ended up going away after I was very, very vocal about being pro-Pally. And so that ended up not coming to fruition, but it's funny to me that you say that. But yeah, I mean, I
think you can easily figure out what union. I want to say this. This union had the only president, the only administration ever walk a picket line with them.
Yeah.
But they still didn't vote for him.
Yeah. So this is my thing. So I believe that, here's my thing. So let me just say this. It was your union that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was your union that I'm talking about.
Okay.
And
I know you're hot.
Oh gosh, see, I don't want to say all of this because this is live. It is recorded. But let me just say this. The person that I had this conversation with, I literally have their personal cell phone, and they are in the top 5 positions of the organization.
That is phenomenal.
So
because I'm very pro. I'm very pro.
Yeah. So, but here's my thing. It didn't come to fruition for whatever reason, and it doesn't. Y'all know me. I don't sweat why it didn't come to fruition. But I will tell you some of the things that this individual said to me, and I don't mind to say this part is, so when we had a discussion, and I'd never been asked anything like that, and when I asked a couple of people, like, what should I say? I gave a number, and this individual looked me dead in the face and said, think bigger. We have really large pockets.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. But they were like, no, like everything that you said was what we all need to hear. And da 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 da. But anyway, it didn't transpire for whatever reason. And that's okay. But I'm sharing.
I can tell you why, because there are a bunch of you know why. Well, you know exactly why.
Here's my thing. I don't. I really don't know. I really don't know why. I really don't know.
Well, it's speculation. I probably shouldn't say that.
I really don't know why. But because I'm not involved in any of those conversations or whatever, here's what I do know is that if I were to get the same invitation today, if I were to get a similar invitation, I would take all of them. And the reason why is because it's not about whatever the check might be. It's because of the opportunity to do this work in a different room that I would never be in any other scenario, right?
Yes.
It's about being able to take the work and put it wherever it can be seen by new people who've maybe never seen it. Or never seen it shared from this perspective and in this way. And that is what it's about at the end of the day. It is not about me as an individual person. It is 100% about the work and where we need to go as a country, all the way across the board. So, but yeah. Blue honey pot. I said just enough, but not too much, right? Blue honey pot, you agree? Like I alluded to persons and positions, but not too much.
You nailed it.
Yeah, but no, literally, I got a text at Christmas.
For real?
For real.
Nice.
For real.
I'm thinking that I know who this is, and
I don't know.
See, I've also got that. See, that's a thing. I also have that going on. We just came through our local elections. We're gearing up for our international elections. And our last contract, we won one member, one vote. We won cost of living. We had great gains, but I think I really do think, because I'm talking at a local level again, I would really like to just roll the tape. Do an introduction, maybe, I don't know, project for the people, or maybe even something just locally. Did you know this is what's happening?
Yeah.
Here?
I mean, listen, if they're open and interested, I'm happy to come up with something that's relevant, for sure. Blue Honey Pot, that organization was also there. I met the dude from that organization too. Hold on, I gotta think of. Give me a second. So that. Thanks, Molly. So let me just say this. So Blue Honey Pot, that organization, I met the president of that state's organization. So the state president for that organization is who I met, and then I met one of the top 5 for the national one that she's talking about. But yeah, thanks again, Space Ranger.
Dani, my union had a rich history of caring about global issues.
Yeah, it does. And here's my thing, right? Yeah, so let me say this. I think that what has happened to democracy is also what has happened to unions. The process just kind of got put in a crock pot. And it just became so the thing that drove it, the reason why people sat down in GM factories and refused to leave and all of that, right? That's gotten lost in fees and then some corruption and then some scandal and then some contracts and then negotiations, like the core, the thing that motivated us, that made it become a thing. What created the middle class? What created unions? What became the focus of labor in this country and people? Right, some bad actors, exactly. And so that's all that is required now. Right, the leaders ended up being like the CEOs. You got it. And so now it's about taking all of that back and saying, no, you don't get to have it. And then I keep saying this, they don't get to have the country. It's not theirs. It doesn't fucking belong to them. You don't get to have it. I don't give a shit how much money you have in your bank account. It doesn't belong to you. Without the people, you aren't shit. we have somehow lost sight of that. And so it's just so imperative that people get the reason they don't want working class people connected and to create understanding is because with understanding comes connection, and that builds power. And they do not want working class people to understand the vast amount of power that we have. They don't. They're terrified of it.
Dani, I appreciate you so much. I've been, deconstructing since I was 50 years old.
It's
so
a
that's 13
process.
years. 13 years, deconstructing my union, my family, of course, is dysfunctional like most families.
That's exactly
just goes on and on, and it goes on and on and on. But, trying to figure out my union, what happened, I wasn't so naive that I thought we'd be standing in a circle holding hands singing Kumbaya.
Mm-hmm.
I was not that naive.
Right.
But I didn't expect this either.
But think about it. Anything, whether it's a union, whether it is your community, whether it is the company that you work for, whether it is your family, there's dysfunction within all of it. Because why? It's all made up of human beings. It's us. We are the central theme in all of it, folks.
Yeah, I've recognized that.
We are the central theme. And so in order for us to rectify things, number one, we have to be willing to do the work on ourselves as individuals, right? And that is why I said out of our circle 1, circle 2, circle 3, 75-80% of our time needs to be spent on circles 1 and circles 2, right?
That's where I'm at.
And
that, just trying to be effective.
So here's the thing. Don't try to be effective. Just do and trust that you will be effective. Just do.
I do. That's why I'm printing off Did You Know and No Wars.
Exactly. And so here's the thing. So this is the thing. And I promise this week, you guys, I will get you the little talking points and the new graphics uploaded. I've been playing catch up ever since I got back from my trip with my mom, and then the kids had school and all of that. So, also, if you ordered stuff, whether it's a deck or a painting or whatever, or you won the raffle stuff, all of your stuff is over here to be mailed off tomorrow. I got it all done after I got back from mom's, and now that I got the kids at school, I'll get all that stuff out to you. But follow me. This is just really important. Okay. Okay. We have to focus on just simply doing the work and knowing. So like when I say don't try, and when I say just do, or when I say don't try, like with Jamie, I was saying don't try to convince them, right? Don't try to convince them. Just share. Just build connection. It is in the connection and the understanding that all the things you desire to see happen. If all you focus on is gaining an understanding and connecting with the people around you, the things that you are truly desiring come after that. That is the conduit. The connection and the understanding is the conduit for where you are desiring to go. And you just have to release yourself from the expectation of when it's going to happen or the desire to force that thing to happen. That's it. Just saying.
I appreciate you so much.
Right back at you. Exactly, Jeff. A marathon is just 26,000 steps, one after the other. Although my ass is not doing literal marathons anytime soon. But no, yeah, that's it. It's literally just, it's one step after the other. And and I had to catch myself because last night I almost talked myself out of going because I was so tired. And I was like, God, do you know what sounds like a good time? Doing absolutely not a fucking thing. And I didn't feel great. I had a headache. I hadn't eaten enough, so I was a little nauseous from my medication. And I literally almost talked myself out of going. but I did, but I went, and it was great to say, what do you say to people when they say you're still not invited to the picnic? You don't say anything. You're not invited to the picnic. That's okay. You don't have to be. I did have a good time. I posted something on my story from it. So listen, we don't have to all end up invited to each other's house and break bread together. Like that's not the case. Connection and understanding does not mean we have to be besties. That's not what it means. It means you get to do what you do and I do what I do, and it's okay. And we just don't do things that harm each other. Right? Like, just so that everybody understands, it's just, this isn't about, I don't know, trying to, I mean, maybe you'll make some friends, but maybe you won't. And that's okay. And that's
Perfectly
okay.
Because it's people I work with. We're friendly enough.
Pam. Yeah, 100%. So I'm just saying. Okay.
I'm gonna turn my tapper back on.
Appreciate you, B Action, 100%. Let me know. I'm down. If your union wants to do anything, let me know.
Okay, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me up.
Yeah.
And I tune in every day. I'm not supposed to, but
we won't tell anybody. But I appreciate you.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thanks, hon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so listen. So on that note, we are 3 hours in, and I feel like that's a good amount of time. I feel like we had some really productive conversations. I will pull those conversations and make some individual clips to post. I will also put them into the podcast away as well. For those of you guys who brought folks and had people join or joined yourself, I greatly appreciate you. For those of you who came with your people, for Gomez and for Tim, listen, first of all, can I give them a shout out and a little pat on the back that they were men? It was actually 2 men that participated and got in on it and all of that. You know what I mean? Like, so let's give them a little round of applause, because that's what's required, right? So just acknowledging that. And so I will be live tomorrow, of course. I've been doing the 10, and then I tried the 9 slot. So it'll be somewhere right around in there, 10 o'clock at the latest. But yeah, so we got a lot to do. Appreciate you, Ethan. I'm going to be uploading graphics and things into the Project for the People docs. We meet this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Project for the People. If you attend the Project for the People meeting, there will be a special discount code given out during that meeting that will get you $10 off of $50 spent getting merch. So just saying. Yeah, you guys are very, very welcome. I appreciate you all so much. I'm gonna hop on off of here and do the things, and I will see you all tomorrow. Listen, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a precursor. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going over a report, and I'm giving you a little forewarning that it will most likely be a little disturbing and upsetting. So make sure that you get grounded and you take some deep breaths. It is about our government. It is about some changes that took place within this administration. There are parts of it that are super alarming, and then I'm kind of disgusted that no, it's not Greenland. No, it's literally about our executive branch and things that we've done. And so I don't mean for it to sound ominous. I'm just saying, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So I'm going to be going over a report tomorrow. Yeah. So I've got it pulled up. and we're gonna dive into it tomorrow. I appreciate you all for the likes, the shares. If you haven't, I got you, Carla. If you haven't already, please go up here and click your Daily Heart Me, and then click it again and claim your points. If you would like for me to give you a hint, let me just say this: it is regarding individuals that are working within our administration in positions and in places where they can do harm, and they are people that have done significant harm previously. So I think that's enough of an indicator of where we want to go. Yeah, you guys are more than welcome. I appreciate you. Maybe, how about we do this? How about I agree to do this every other Sunday at the same time, all the way up until the midterms? How does that sound? We'll do a Q&A every other Sunday, up until midterms. And so that way you have an opportunity to bring more family, bring more friends, bring more people, and all the things. Sound cool? Yeah, I know. So I know you guys, remember when we were going up to the 2024 election and you guys were like, Dani, don't get burned out, because I was doing 2 lives a day for hours and whatever. And then, do y'all remember what my reminder was for everybody back then? So this is what I said back then. This is what I will remind you today. You are looking at somebody that packed a backpack, a sleeping bag, and a laptop, and went and sat on a public right of way in front of a hospital, and stayed there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 257 days. I think I can handle a live every other Sunday for the next 86 days. Okay. I think I got it, y'all. I think I got it. So just saying. Yeah, so I'm actually going to go wash my face, and take an extra strength Tylenol or 2. I got a bit of a headache. Fax is live. Cool. Yeah, let's do that. So for you guys over here, thank you all for joining on Substack, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I will see you all tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.